Hey guys, welcome in.
Oh, Mason, you bought a hero sandwich?
Yeah, Paul, I wanted to do a whole gourmet thing, but I'm not actually a good chef. So there's a bunch of burned food in the trash, and for dessert, I made a souffle, but I did something wrong.
Just like my mom makes it.
Is your mom not a good chef, Lowry?
Oh, my mom is terrible. She can find a way to drain the flavor from store-bought sauce. It's actually kind of amazing.
Is this gonna be a thing now? Are we just gonna try new foods every game night?
Some people have parties, Elvis, and some people form parties. Adventuring parties.
Oh my god, that's so lame.
Wallow in it. It's who you are, Lowry. Paul, did you do all your homework?
Yes.
Paul got homework?
Yeah, I wanted to be a big Kingpin guy, so I had to learn all of Mason's NPCs.
Yeah, I'm doing this story-driven opener this time, so not everyone meets at once. It's gonna be cool. Okay, so Elvis, I'm gonna start with you. Your character makes granola bars, is that correct?
I'm an old woman who's perfected granola bars, and through healthy eating I've lived to be 112, but I feel a spry 63.
Alright, perfect. So what's your kitchen like?
It's a traditional cottage, but it's filled with all kinds of weird contraptions and strange cloning vats. My health food is based on strange and unethical sciences.
Does anyone else work with you?
I have a few line chefs who I refer to as my grandkids, but when they're off the clock they never call. My company is a family.
Alright, well, you're in the middle of a typical workday, double-checking the fluids on your strange organic vats, making sure the temperatures and pH are just right, and you hear overhead the thump-thump-thump of a helicopter. It sweeps in quick, and then there's a thumping on the roof.
Oh no! Oh, they finally come for me! Grandkids, protect Grandma! I'll give you extra granola cookies!
A grenade flies through the window, trailing a yellowish, heavy smoke that fills up the room. Some of the smoke gets in your mouth, and you realize it's mustard. It's mustard in gas form.
Mustard? That'll get on the granola!
The fiends! They've ruined it! Men fly in on zip lines. They're firing their guns, and Granny Elvis, you're hit! You drop to the floor, clutching your chest. It's covered in blood. But as your eyes focus and you realize what's on your hands, it's ketchup! The bullets are made of ketchup!
What horrible monsters would do this? Who would bring ketchup into a good kitchen?
They black bag you. They zip tie your hands, pick you up, and drag you away. You can feel a guy putting his weight on you. Eventually, the commotion dies down. They unzip a part of the bag around your mouth and hold your nose. When you open up your mouth, they shove something in, and that's when you're hit with an adventure in flavor. You don't have to chew. The meat completely disintegrates in your mouth. You've just eaten what you can guess is the most expertly prepared baby back rib you'll ever taste in your entire life. The pressure on your back fades away. Then you can hear sizzling and the sound of birds. You can smell barbecue. Someone takes the black bag off your head and you really are in someone's backyard. You're on a deck, but it's arranged like an office. You're sitting on a deck chair. In front of you is a grill laid out like a desk. On the other side is a humanoid figure wreathed in flames. He's like an angel, but wearing sunglasses. And he's got on one of those novelty print shirts with flames on it. He flips a burger. Grandma Elva, it's my understanding that you discovered how to turn a live human into a compact, delicious granola bar.
No? Maybe? I'm a visionary! Who are you? What? Are you with the feds?
I'm Guy Inferno, one of the most premier chefs and food critics in the entire multiverse. I've sampled more dishes than any other being alive or dead. So many of them were so good, and yet so many more were so bad.
So, what is this, a critic thing? Well, in that case, you could have just asked. I'm willing to hand out samples for the food critics.
No need, Granny Elva. I already know you're a bad chef and you make bad food.
What? How dare you? I make food healthy enough to cheat death, and it's still delicious!
You're nothing more than a vampire, Elva. Using the life of your fellow man to sustain your own is a dark path. And you can't do it forever. When you cross a certain flavor threshold, pretty soon your food is all anyone can think about. You'll extinct your own race.
Well, a lot of people don't live very healthy lives. A race that dies from being too healthy sounds like, well, it's counterintuitive, but it's perfect. What I do is a public service.
Nope. What I do is a public service, Elva. Would you like to try a burger with my special sauce?
Oh, no. I only eat granola. Hamburgers are not good for you.
Inferno pulls a small bottle out of his pocket and drips it onto a burger. Come now, Elva, I'm sure you can break your diet just the once. He scoops up the burger and puts it on a bun. He adds cheese, lettuce, and tomato. The aroma is positively mouth-watering. More than anything, you'd like to try that burger.
Well, I guess it doesn't hurt if you welch on your diet on the rare occasion. I take the burger.
When you bite into that burger, you're taken on a flavor ride. You're overwhelmed with sensation. Everything is lost in this burger. even your sense of balance. All is burger, all is good. The room spins away, and all that's left is you and the delicious meat covered in sauce made by an angel. You eat voraciously, and as you finish off the last few bites, you find your senses gradually fading back in, and you're staring down at a dingy tin prison toilet.
Feast your eyes. That's the most sensation you'll get here for quite some time.
You turn and see a sort of portly-looking man with a mustache laying on the bottom bunk of a prison bed. He's wearing a bright orange chef's outfit.
Who are you? Where am I? This is all happening a little fast.
You're in the flavor zone. To be more specific, you're in our cell. Welcome home.
The flavor zone?
As you spin around and get your bearings, you realize you're trapped in a small cell. There's nothing in it but the bed, the toilet, and this man. And you're also wearing an orange chef's outfit. You don't know when you changed.
You still didn't tell me who you are. Where'd I get this outfit?
My name is Paul, but around here they call me the Godfather, or sometimes just Papa. My specialty is pizza.
Pizza.
Your scorn wounds me, madam.
It's nothing but homogeneous crap. How can you call that a specialty?
I get off the bunk and I start pacing in dramatic circles around Elvis. The exact definition of a pizza dish can be quite liberal. All you require is a substrate, a sauce, and some form of topping. With enough ingenuity, anything can become a pizza. Everything can become a pizza. What's your specialty?
You haven't heard of me? You haven't heard of the great Grandma Elva?
I stop. One of the precious few pleasures of the Flavor Zone is meeting extraordinary new people. Indulge me, Elva. I'm sure that what you do excels beyond imagination. You couldn't be here if that weren't the case. What is it that you do?
I make granola, you Philistine. I make the best granola.
Turn around and monologue while walking away. You don't merely make granola, do you? No one finds themselves in the Flavor Zone for merely making things as one dabbles at a hobby.
All right, fine. So some of my recipes are a little unethical, but I'm getting old and I'm not ready to die. Sue me for being human and proactive.
Human? That's a lawsuit that I would lose. We aren't human, Elva. Have you ever really considered the totality of our work? An engineer concerns himself with physics, with the ductility of objects. A chemist thinks of reactions, balancing the right quantities of one volatile material against the next. But do we not consider these things when we make a meal? And we go beyond. The sight, the smell, the sound, the atmosphere of your restaurant. What part of the natural living world doesn't belong to the talented chef? Expand your talents far enough, and all that makes up life becomes the essence of your craft. We are not merely human, Elva. Each and every one of us here in the Flavor Zone is in some fashion divine. The Flavor Zone is not merely a cell you're trapped in, not merely a prison. It's its own dimension, sequestered away from all the others. Guy Inferno fears us, Elva. Fears we've touched the face of God. And were we to go any further in our craft, we'd be more than can be contained. As God made hell and cast Satan in for his arrogance, so has Guy Inferno made the Flavor Zone for those who dare to rise above their pedestrian peers. You're here, Elva, because you had the audacity to be more than human. It is my pleasure to meet you.
Oh. Well, likewise, I suppose. I had never put it in those kind of flowery, talking terms, but I just thought of myself as more practical than most people. You know, if you really think about it, all the nutrition a healthy body needs already exists in a healthy body. And now listen, I know that sounds redundant at first, but when you think about it, it's really simple.
The tautology of things being as they are doesn't escape me in the slightest.
A loud buzzer rings and your doors slide open.
You'll have to run the details by me soon. For now, you've arrived just in time for lunch.
People of all shapes and sizes start moving out of their cells. You walk out in the hall and find yourself in a dizzying vertical complex full of hundreds if not thousands of humans, animals, and aliens, all wearing the same orange chef's outfits.
All of these people are food criminals?
Far more than that, Elva. All of these people are food geniuses.
A small, greasy-looking man with bulbous eyeballs runs up behind you guys.
Jeez, Mason, it took you long enough. I've been waiting forever.
It was only like 5 minutes.
Paul's over here sucking all the wind out of the room. Talk about long-winded. I had to practice for today's game. I've been pacing around my room talking to myself in this voice all week.
Anyway, an ugly, greasy little dude runs up behind you.
Hi, Paul. Who's the new blood? Another lady? Excuse me, ma'am. I don't suppose you're seeing anyone?
The only one I'm seeing is Granola. And also Jesus, who's gonna thank me for unlocking the secrets of granola. He's gonna tell me I made man in the image of granola, and also in my own image. and I am granola, and then he's gonna become granola, and it's gonna vindicate my entire life's work.
Lowry, this is Elva. She arrived just a few moments ago. Her specialty should be self-evident. Well, they do say you shouldn't hook up with the crazy ones. But lady, let me tell you, you should make an exception for me, just this once. I swear my problems can be managed with medication. Elva, this is Lowry. He specializes in beans. His chili dish completely buried his entire metropolitan area. Yeah, I did an endless chili bowl and buried the city. There were no survivors. That's when Guy Inferno showed up. He locked me away, but you know what? I hear sometimes people get his ribs with a side of beans, and his recipe for beans sounds awfully similar to mine.
You think he stole your recipe?
We don't know that he steals recipes, but we know he fears the potential held within each and every one of us. Come along, let's allow ourselves to get settled in, and I'll introduce you to some of our more notable residents.
Finding the cafeteria isn't difficult, because all you have to do is follow the throngs of chefs headed in one direction. Along the way, you see guards patrolling from high walks that seem accessible only to them, and there's security cameras everywhere. They're heavily armed with the same kind of equipment they use to storm Elva's kitchen, but given how many inmates there are, at a glance it's obvious there's not enough of them. You arrive into sort of an open-air setting that looks like a rec yard, but it turns out to be the cafeteria. There's a large open yard space below, and a sort of coliseum arrangement of decks around it. There's tables on every level. You see a lot of chefs folding their paper napkins into elegant shapes before they sit down. A few inmates have set up reading lights in plastic cups so they look like candle lighting.
We're not given much in the flavor zone, but you're seeing a veritable harvest field of the most creative people in any universe. We make do to create the proper atmosphere with our mealtime. In years past, we were permitted to buy saltine crackers from the canteen, but after a guard lost a leg and both of his eyebrows, that's sadly no longer an option. Leave it to the overeager to discover an exciting new trick and not patiently teach the rest of us. I sit down and fold my napkin into a nice shape, then unfold it and drape it over my legs.
I guess I do the same, but without folding the napkin up neat in the first place.
I stuff the napkin in my shirt like a bib. Paul, I'll never understand how you get to be so fancy about pizza. It's just pizza, right? It's an everybody food. I don't know how many times, Lowry, that I'll have to tell you that I made the best pizza. Powerful men ate at my restaurant. Mine was a meeting place of influence, a staple name on the lips of politicians, kings and queens, business leaders alike. To be called the godfather of pizza was no mere title. Yeah, sure, whatever. Where I'm from, if you came from poverty, you own that poverty. A bad part of town means that you know how to cook. Is my parking lot too small? Looks like the lunch rush is going to be manageable for my boys, you get me? I only allowed reservations. That's how I managed the crowds. Reservations for pizza. See, that's what I like about beans. You do a big batch pot and just ladle that stuff into cups for everybody. Never see the beans stop moving. Well, I say if you can't wait for perfection, you don't deserve it. Would you have rushed Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel? Why would Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel? Because he painted the Sistine Chapel. No. Okay. See, in my dimension, Master Splinter painted the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo was just a bum who loved pizza.
In my dimension, Master Splinter is a country singer. He also had a sitcom where his daughter gets pregnant out of wedlock.
Alright, yes, I see that we're all confused about our diverging cultural touchstones.
Also, the Sistine Chapel is where Simon and Garfunkel got married. It's in Los Angeles. Does that line up for anybody else?
It's immaterial. Comparing beans to pizza is like comparing sculpture to oil painting. These are two austerely different mediums.
Another inmate approaches your table. He's carrying menus made out of scrap newspaper, but they're folded up very nicely. He hands them out to everyone, and there's a variety of options written on them, but there's no description and no prices listed. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Flavor Zone Cafeteria. Is this your first time with us?
It's actually my friend Elva's first time.
Do you have granola?
I'll see if I can help you, ma'am. What sort of granola dish did you have in mind?
Well, I'm all about health food, and as it turns out, granola is about the healthiest food there is. Did you know that when properly prepared, there's enough energy in a single flake of granola to drive a car to the supermarket?
Well, if it's nutrients you're after, I would recommend the Turn Fad Under Particle. What we do is take the usual nutrient gruel and trap as much of the scent and flavor as we possibly can under a container of particle board. It comes with a delightful garnish of Movasis herb de la cour.
All right, that sounds good. I guess I'll have that.
Excellent. And are the rest of you ready to order, or shall I give you some time?
I believe I'll have the chef's specialty.
The special? Don't you know that's where they throw all the old food?
Yes, in some establishments, but in others it's an actual specialty.
Look, you know how it is in your restaurant, but I'm just saying. I cover my mouth so the waiter can't hear. The Flavor Zone ain't the best joint in town. You ever seen a health inspector around here?
How many times do we have to have this argument? Look, I'll have the specialty, and my friend Lowry here will have the closest you can approximate to a bowl of chili. And no, that's not being derogatory. I've grown accustomed to excellence.
Of course, sir. We only strive for the best. The inmate hurries off.
So they've got inmates taking our orders? Seems a bit fancy for prison.
Oh, no. When you're arrested, your line chefs will be rounded up and given an option. Either they turn on you and serve Guy Inferno, or they remain loyal to the sous chef and be incarcerated with them. Usually, the line chefs will be separated from the sous chef in separate cell blocks, and some of them keep themselves busy by acting at the capacity of restaurant help. It's degrading to the talents, and I hate to see them this way, languishing. But they are very skilled at what they put their minds to, and it staves off boredom.
Who cooks the meals? They let the inmates near food?
If you call it food, yeah.
Some inmates require special attention. Cannibal Carl is surrounded by his food specialty in this prison, so he's often in solitary. And when he's loose, he's under close supervision. Because he doesn't do much with conventional food, he's trusted to work with the resources the Flavor Zone provides.
If you can call them resources.
The meager resources. If I must be honest, prepare for the paper of your plate to have more flavor than your meal.
This is awful. They can't just do this to us for being visionaries. For knowing real food, I didn't even get a trial.
My sentiments exactly.
Yeah, well, life ain't fair.
In this case, I believe that Guy Inferno merely has the advantage over us. Someday that won't be the case. Here, let me show you some of the talent. Down below, there's a few of our most notable cell block colleagues. I look for a big shark man.
He's completely unmistakable. In the art section of the cafeteria, there's a large shark man who looks to be about 8 or 9 feet tall sitting at a table. He's wrapped up in chains and restraints. His mouth is muzzled and he's sucking some kind of white paste through a straw.
That one there is Snack Attack Mac, one of the most talented hibachi chefs in the known universes. His accuracy with cutlery is unparalleled. But in spite of his size, Mac has an uncanny level of dexterity and pinpoint accuracy with airborne food. He's at home with an open flame, and needs very little to do his magic. He comes from an amphibious society that lives around active volcanoes, and in his prime he heated his grill with volcanic lava flows. The art of hibachi dramatically increases the flavor of your chosen cooking ingredients without relying on spices. But like most of us, Mac wasn't satisfied with convention. He concocted more and more flavorful yet palatable dishes. Eventually, he discovered a recipe of such intense flavor that it caused sensory overload, and its victims suffer a convulsive stroke before expiring. Mac viewed these deaths as an unfortunate stepping stone towards approaching the ultimate height of hibachi, and for his ambition he received a visit from Guy Inferno.
They used to let him walk around without the chains, and he'd juggle people he didn't like. Apparently word got back to Inferno about that, and he didn't like that Mac was doing any of his food tricks with the other inmates, so now he's all chained up.
As I understand, the real reason Mac is under lock and key is because he can cut through stone with his bare hands.
We've never seen him do that, though. It's only rumor.
Alright, where's the ghost pepper guy?
Paul points out an older gentleman with dark skin and a skull tattoo over his face. His body is decorated with tattoos of pepper plants that weave all up and down his arms and chest. He looks like he spent most of his life out in the sun, but there's a sort of storm cloud around his demeanor, and the other inmates are avoiding him.
That man is La Eterna Pimienta Fantasma. An expert of traditional Mesoamerican cuisine, in his home dimension he was surprisingly resourceful as a forager. His specialties include a sort of spicy acorn dish with an avocado spread and a corn tortilla. It sounds primitive, but he makes it work, and the presentation is lovely. He uses corn leaves as a garnish. His foraging trips became a sort of spiritual event, and on one such excursion he dreamt the revelation that spicy foods cause the soul to ever so slightly leave the body through the nose and the mouth. From there, he began experimenting with different kinds of spice intensities until he found a recipe which would successfully eject one's soul entirely, causing an out-of-body experience. This might be enough to raise eyebrows, but then Phantasma committed the ultimate sin. He harnessed a soul and experimented with it as an ingredient. He did this merely 3 times before being pounced on by Inferno's goons.
Goodness, I never thought of a soul as being a possible ingredient. Do you think souls would make good granola?
Madam, you'll learn more about food here in this prison than you'd ever think was possible. If a soul can make good granola, I'm sure you'll find a way.
You know, I always had a theory about spicy chili making people's souls leave their bodies. Only in my case, I figured it didn't leave their mouth. Came out the other way.
Well, I'd object to the sanitation of using those souls for food.
Yeah, that's why I never thought to do it.
Alright, look for the bald guy.
This guy is pretty non-notable at a glance, so it's hard to tell who Paul is pointing out at first. But it's an otherwise nondescript bald guy with a beer gut and a paper hat. He looks really sad.
One of the most tragic cases is Bald Spaulding. Originally a hot dog vendor, Spaulding dreamt of creating hot dogs which would remind you of past sporting events. You close your eyes and you're transported back to another time. He focused on making these events occur with more and more clarity, and eventually realized that food isn't just about aroma and taste, but that it also has a spatial and temporal component which can be manipulated with the right knowledge. His first breakthrough transported him, literally, to his local baseball stadium. With practice, he was able to travel through time, back to the stadium at specific dates. Finally, he began experimenting with other foods. A South Vietnamese dish would take him to South Vietnam. A Coney dog would take him to Coney Island. And it didn't stop there. What of spatial flavors with which man had no familiarity? He traveled the stars, experiencing new cultures and foods, never using this power for good or ill, merely reveling at its astounding capacity, until one day he made a fateful mistake and transported himself to the Flavor Zone. Guy Inferno was completely unsympathetic. If you ask me, it was nothing but jealousy. Inferno's dishes are known to transport you to another place, but they aren't believed capable to take you to another time. By all rights, it seems that Spaulding has surpassed Inferno and is now being punished for his arrogance.
Is there a limit on these incarcerations? When does he get out of here? When do I get out of here?
Never. We've never seen anybody leave.
Not as yet.
We've seen plenty of suicides, though.
Well, suicide seems extreme for a place full of ambitious people.
The waiter comes back with your plates. Everyone gets the exact same white paste, but Elvis, yours is placed under cardboard. When you bite into it, you discover it has absolutely no flavor whatsoever.
Ugh. Somebody in the kitchen cooks this?
They mostly just unwrap the plastic packaging and squeeze it out of a tube.
Okay, I changed my mind. How do I kill myself? I can't live like this.
Alright, Taffy Guy.
Paul points out a tall, thin man with a rubbery gait to his walk. His head is bobbling all over the place and he's wearing a headband that flaps around like crazy.
That's Lafferty Taffy, a candy enthusiast who's pushed his own body to the limits of flexibility to become more one with his favorite confectionery treat. But it's not training alone that led him to be that way. Lafferty is a brilliant biologist, and he's altered his physical body to actually possess the consistency of taffy. Rumor is he excretes glucose, though don't let word of that reach Inferno. There's a strong black market here for sweeteners. A mere gram can be traded for virtually anything, making Lafferty a veritable gold mine.
He changed his body into candy?
And yet he doesn't have a sweet disposition.
That's the worst thing I ever heard. Did you know a body already contains all the nutrients you need to support a healthy body? And he turned that into empty calories?
I believe you've mentioned that, yes. Okay, last guy.
Paul points out a fat guy wearing newspaper in his ears to look like a laurel wreath. A woman is feeding him nutrient paste by hand.
We call that man Captain Crouton, but never directly to his face. He prefers to be described as the Caesar, and is a master of the art of the salad. Fruit salad, chicken salad, and yes, Caesar salad.
Those aren't even entrees.
I agree with you, Elva. That guy's a hack. Did you know that he once said that chili is a salad? The nerve of some people.
Be calm, the two of you. Genius always requires a special perspective. Captain Crouton may be rough around the edges, but to some, he's the best part of the prison. He holds sway over a large, organized swath of the Flavor Zone, able to mix and influence surprisingly disparate forces. It's because of him, should we escape, that an escape would be possible.
Shoot, is that today?
Yes, my friend. Did you forget to mark your calendar?
What's
I
today?
thought that was next week. Why didn't you tell me it was today?
Silence, Lowry. It's already begun.
What's beginning?
Paul points to Snack Attack Mac. Somebody walks by him and opens up a packet over his shackles. It seeps into the joints and starts to fizzle. A guard spots it and shouts, "Hey!" But it's too late. Whatever was in the packet, it instantly inflates into bread, forcing the shackles apart, releasing Mac. Mac leaps to his feet and tosses one of the heavy restraining devices at a guard. It bounces off of that one, flies across the room, and lands on another guard, knocking them both out. Guards begin shouting and ketchup bullets start flying. The entire cafeteria explodes into pandemonium. Someone whips out a can of squeezed cheese, and then the mustard grenades start landing in the courtyard.
That's why I chose the balcony seating today. Come on, let's go. We've got work to do.
I hop up. Don't leave me.
Where are we going? What's going on?
The alarms blare overhead. Elvis, you're not sure what's supposed to happen normally when the alarms sound, but it looks like the other inmates aren't doing it. You can smell raisins, cookies, curry, all kinds of things. You haven't been here long enough to know how contraband works, but apparently the Flavor Zone had plenty of flavor in it after all.
This is your second chance, Elva. Stick with me and we'll make the best of it.
So am I the only one that doesn't have any prior knowledge of the game? Lowry keeps dropping hints about all the other inmates.
I have no idea what Mason planned either, Elvis. I've just been making it up based on context.
Yeah, Paul's the only one I gave homework to.
But now that I've put my 2 cents in, it's all true.
Yeah, I mean, at least as far as a flawed narrator goes.
Paul, who's a flawed narrator? You're not a perfect narrator.
Lowry, I mean a narrator who doesn't have perfect omniscience.
Oh. Yeah, me too. Your character's not omniscient.
As far as you know.
Anyway, what you do know is that you're in the middle of a full-blown prison riot. There's grenades and gunfire behind you. The alarms are blaring overhead. Elvis, Paul is currently leading you and Lowry down the prison hallways.
Mr. Pizza Paul, where exactly are we going?
Yeah, that's something I'd also like to know.
Lowry, were you not paying attention when I discussed with you the upcoming escape plans?
I thought you were joking. Everyone talks about escape and no one ever escapes.
It was a simple plan. You're a genius. How could you forget?
All right, explain it to me again, but like I'm a few grades lower than the last time you told me. And try not to sound like a book when you say
It's
it.
Bald Spaulding. He's the key. The man can leave the flavor zone of his own volition. But more than that, he can make several dishes to facilitate the purpose, provided he's given the right ingredients.
Well, why wouldn't Guy Inferno just catch us again?
You're right, Elvis. We don't intend to escape Guy Inferno. We intend to go directly to him. Without him in the way, we can reclaim our divine purpose.
Why are we running away then? Spaulding was down in the courtyard.
The flavor zone is punctuated with blandness. Spaulding needs very little to move about here. If all has gone according to plan, he'll be among King Crouton's goons even slightly before this diversion began. He should be finishing his preparations as of now.
Ah, man, you're right. I should have remembered all this. How long ago did you tell me?
Never mind the past, let's focus on the here and now.
Well, that's not always a good idea. If we don't learn from the past, we're doomed to repeat ourselves.
Yeah, Elva's right. Also, hey, could you tell me the plan one more time? Because I was only half paying attention.
We're going to see King Crouton.
Ah, yeah, right.
You guys follow Paul to one of the lower regions of the cell blocks, then find yourselves in the laundry room. There's a group of chefs running back and forth with kitchen-like precision. It appears they're pulling various spices, sauces, and foods out of their hiding places around the room.
Where's Spaulding? We're here for the action.
You look around and you don't see him. There's no sign of King Crouton either. One of the chefs shrugs. That's what I'd like to know.
Paul, it looks like you led us into a double cross. Our guy's not here.
Now let's not jump to conclusions. It's not a double cross until we're double crossed. Where's Caesar?
Looking for me? 4 men carry Crouton into the room on their shoulders. They set him down on a bench where he lounges regally.
What's the deal, Caesar? Paul said we're supposed to have Spaulding. He explained it numerous times. I only just barely listened, so maybe Spaulding's not supposed to be here. Is Spaulding supposed to be here?
Yes, he is, but he's gone missing. Unfortunately, that means a change of plans.
Missing?
Yes, missing. We have no idea where Spaulding is. For all we know, he's already flown the coop.
How can that be possible? As I understand, only you possess the ingredients necessary to leave.
That's what I assumed as well, but speaking of ingredients, Paul, I believe that you still have that sauce I gave you.
Indeed.
Ah, Paul, you've been holding out on me? What kind of sauce? Is it barbecue? I could do a bean dish with pizza sauce, I don't care.
Well, that's just it. Now that Spaulding has gone missing, I'd really like to nix the pizza thing.
You mean to take from me my ingredient?
Our agreement was that you'd get to make your pizza just before we escape from this place. But as long as that's up in the air, I prefer the assurance of knowing that you won't make your pizza prematurely.
You'll take from me? And then what's my assurance that things will be resolved with Spaulding?
What exactly does your pizza do, Paul?
Actually, I'm interested in this too. You never told me.
Everything.
Yeah, see, you always give me cryptic answers like that. That is not an answer.
Oh, Paul, do your friends not know? Well, imagination's just sure to be more exciting than the reality. But I know exactly what Paul's signature dish will do, and we would be better off if someone else held the keys.
You'll leave me unarmed in the middle of a riot. What if I refuse?
I'm sure we can reclaim the rest of the ingredients from your line, chefs. You can't even make the pizza without them, can you? Crouton pulls out a narrow little syringe from the folds of his clothes. It's full of some kind of white sauce. It's got feathers on the back of it. He also pulls out a straw.
Get down in a fighting stance. Light on my feet. Caesar, come now. There's no need to resort to barbarics.
So you'll hand over your ingredients, because I gave them to you. It'd be barbaric to keep them if I ask for their return.
No, you gifted them freely, and that means they're mine. I can choose to do with them what I wish now.
Did it come with a gift receipt?
Did you?
No!
Are you trying to imply that you got a receipt for contraband?
It's like
What,
when
did
you
you get it from a Macy's department store?
It's like when you loan someone your favorite horse, just because they borrow it.
Would loan a horse.
Just because they
Don't-
borrow it.
This is important. Who loans out a horse? Who just loans out horses? They're living animals. Someone's feeding them.
I had mini horses. Had them. Owned an abundance of horses. Sometimes
It's an
I just loan
obligation.
them out.
A horse. Obligation. A responsibility.
Not if you go to the market, but you're busy visiting me at my home, you can borrow a horse. Just bring it back when you're done.
Well, I'll return your pizza sauce when I'm done with it. What, do you intercept someone and take the horse away when they're halfway towards the market? Why loan them the horse at all? What would even be the point?
Because they're riding the horse to plant a deadly weapon. Then
Caesar, now your metaphor is in shambles. I've defeated you in the war of words. In this metaphor, the horse is not the weapon. What we're dealing with is more akin to having been gifted a sword, which you take away before I even see battle. This must be a tremendously humbling moment for you. I will accept your surrender and also your sincere apology, and I will keep the pizza sauce.
Now,
Oh my god, did that work? Did you just win this fight by being pedantic?
Crouton puts the syringe in a straw, holds it up to his lips, then blows it out of the straw like a dart. It hits Lowry.
Ow! What the heck? I wasn't even arguing with you.
Oh no.
That's what you get for not standing behind, Paul. Clear mistake there.
What do you mean? Oh no. And whose side are you on, Elva?
Well, currently I'd like to say I'm neutral, but I'm worried I'm standing too close to Paul.
Oh no is right. The three of you are now doomed.
Yep, there it is. I knew it. Defaulted to Team Paul. Should have walked to the other side of the room.
Everyone, we're in grave danger. Lowry, you especially, though admittedly probably less than myself and Elva.
Lowry, you're starting to feel really angry. Almost just uncontrollably angry. It should be kicking in any moment now. If I were you, I'd run when I still had the chance.
Huh? What did you do? What is in my system now? I swear to God.
Crouton's guys all seem a little nervous. They're on their guard. Go on, Paul. Why don't you tell him while he's still lucid enough to understand?
Well, first of all, Lowry, before you go all the way into this, I'd like to apologize for not more thoroughly crushing Crouton in the War of Words. I thought I had him on the ropes.
Why am I so angry?
I'm going to get to that, but I'd also like to say your moral support was essential to the efforts. You were a true friend, and I love you.
Lowry, you are now uncontrollably pacing around the room, grabbing at your hair.
Elva, since I'm not sure that Lowry is paying attention, and he rarely is in the best of cases, I'll explain the situation to you. Lowry has just been hit by King Crouton's signature 3 Mile Island salad dressing. It contains all the power of a nuclear reactor, and trace amounts of radioactive iodine.
Oh my god.
Lowry, you punch a crater into the concrete wall. Small chunks of debris fly everywhere.
Stand a little further away from Lowry.
Well, that sounds like it could be good though, right? Because he's on our team.
No, Elva, you don't understand.
Well, why don't you explain it better, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you gave me incomplete information. How am I supposed to understand?
Elvis's strength will increase tenfold, and his odds of developing cancer later in life will roughly triple.
Oh god, ball cancer already runs in the family. I don't need this.
But worse than that, his capacity for higher reasoning will diminish to almost nothing. He'll become a shambling beast, subject to the will of the most charismatic person in the room.
And that person just happens to be me.
Oh, we'll see about that, King Crouton. The second round of the War of Words is about to begin.
Paul, I'm gonna kill you.
Hold your judgment, Lowry. I haven't even begun yet. But I'd like to begin my opening salvo by saying that you look very well put together today. Your hair is fantastic.
I feel like I got ants crawling up my fingernails.
That's nothing. Oh, Paul, that's pathetic. Listen to this. Lowry, I've written a poem for you. Lowry, my eyes open, for you have opened them to the potential of the humble bean. Bean dip as chili and stews as well. Well, now I think that beans are swell.
That's a pretty good poem. I really like beans.
You prepared a poem?
Of course. I love poetry.
That means you were planning to double-cross me from the start.
It's called insurance, Paul. And what can I say? You should always have your I's dotted and your T's crossed.
Oh, that's nothing. I got a bean poem. Beans, the wonderful fruit. The more you eat them, the more you toot.
Okay, listen. Lowry, I've been your friend a long time. I know for a fact that Elva's poem is an absurd misrepresentation of the noble being. Thanks to you, I'm well aware that properly soaking your beans will make you considerably less likely to fart. I don't know how many times you've told me that, but I have listened every time. Because, Lowry, I respect you. I respect you, and I know that in your own way, at your own helm, you're entirely correct. Like all of us, you're a great man, and I wouldn't trade your ranting for anyone else's, because you aren't merely a great man, you're also a great friend.
Okay, it's my turn for a rebuttal. I believe you got 2 turns, and that's not really fair. Lowry, if you do my bidding and destroy Paul, I can give you, He points at a bunny girl hanging out on the sidelines. She's like an anthropomorphic bunny woman. Appears to be in her mid-30s. Pretty, looks well put together, a lot of confidence. Crouton says, "Kill Paul, and I will trade you one of my bunny girl line chefs." She glowers back, and a cloud of evil crosses her face. Is that not okay? She goes, I'm a sous chef, not a line chef. My specialty is carrots. He says, "Oh, I could have sworn. Well, I'm sorry. I feel terribly foolish right now. We don't talk enough. We should rectify that. We should play cards together one of these days as a group activity. I'm sorry. There are bunny girls in this prison who are line chefs, and I'm sure that this talented sous chef, who is my peer, can maybe talk to some of them. I don't know any other... Right, or I will find a line chef. Just because I'm a bunny girl, that doesn't mean... Yes, exactly. We'll work it out. We'll definitely work it out. Lowry, kill Paul, and I will give you a gorgeous bunny girl line chef who will make your kitchen more respected thanks to diversity. The bunny girl rolls her eyes.
Paul, give Lowry bunny girl.
Oh, what, Lowry? Does it look like I'm made of bunny girls to you?
Kill Paul.
Dodge.
You grab for Paul, but he sees it coming and ducks underneath you.
Lowry, want diverse kitchen staff.
Paul, what do you do?
I grab Elva and run.
Well, okay, I guess I'll be a target too. I really need to stand further away from you.
Paul and Elva run for their lives. Lowry, barely in control of his faculties, gives chase in a fit of bloodlust, fully intent on ripping Paul's arms off, and he can't even concentrate on who's in the way. The rage gives Lowry a stronger set of legs, but he has a harder time taking corners. Paul and Elva zig and zag down the corridors, and then you find yourselves running towards a lone prison guard. He looks nervous and frightened when you round the corner. Stop! Get down on the ground!
Run along the edge of the hallway and give him a really wide berth. Help us!
What?
Lowry want diversity. Lowry is blood.
Stay back! Pap, pap! He fires off 2 ketchup rounds into your chest, Lowry. You're knocked down, winded. You feel dazed and you can't get up right now.
Thank goodness we found you, officer. We were in mortal danger.
What was he tweaking on?
Salad dressing.
Those are some serious bullets. You brought him right down.
They're not just any bullets, Elva. The Flavor Zone employs a special type of ketchup-based ballistic. Aside from leaving a terrible bruise, the specifically formulated ketchup will be absorbed through the skin. Furthermore, powdered ketchup will break off from the round and be inhaled by the target. These things together will tend to overpower and neutralize most food-based conditions. They're also quite effective on foods themselves.
Wait, so you're telling me these guns force ketchup into people's bloodstreams?
Indeed. A chef himself, Guy Inferno knows some of the cruelest methods to neutralize his opposition.
You guys have to be in your cells. It's a lockdown. You can't be out here.
We were in our cells, being good little prisoners, but do you see that man? He'd have torn us limb from limb. Thank goodness you found us, sir. You have just what I need. I grab his gun.
All right, roll it.
I tackle at the legs.
And with assist from Elvis, Paul, you grab the gun while Elva tackles him. He's too shook up to stop you and he hits the floor.
Jump in the air and sit on his head.
Oh, no, okay. Paul leaps up in the air and thunders down butt first on this guy's head. It's not the most noble way to die, but there's no one else around to see it happen.
All right, check him for grenades and other supplies.
His grenade belt is empty. He must have been throwing them left and right. He's got 8 rounds left in his rifle, and his other magazines are also empty. Looks like it must be pretty brutal out there.
That's unfortunate. Their mustard grenades work on a similar principle. Mustard in gas form will smother the vast variety of dishes. I fear all this man has won't be enough for the journey ahead.
Do these ketchup bullets work on everything?
There are some meals more powerful than ketchup. In those cases, Inferno will sometimes deploy a salt and pepper spray and absolutely bury the problem in salt. If that fails, they have no further arsenal.
Yeah, and how often does it get that bad?
It's rare to see something for which ketchup isn't sufficient. I just wish we had more.
I can't believe they put ketchup directly into your bloodstream. Did you know the human body contains all the nutrients of a healthy body?
Yes.
Well, it does, yeah. I'm no angel, but Inferno isn't a man with a lot of high principles, that's what I'll say.
Lowry, you're starting to feel back to normal. Kinda tired and achy, but back to your regular cognizant self.
Ugh. Did I get my diversity higher?
I'm afraid not, friend.
That's a shame. She looks so confident. I mean, like she could help out so much, and she probably knew a lot of dishes. I don't know. We could have learned a lot. Fellow sous chef, I bet she'd make a really great friend. Smart. Bunny whiskers, that's what I need, Paul. That's the missing piece.
I know, Lowry. But alas, we're all married to our careers here in the Flavor Zone.
Ain't that the truth?
Help Lowry up.
Isn't everyone locked up in here because they did something evil and inexcusable according to the moral compasses of unhealthy eaters?
Yeah, I mean, I'm locked up. It's a match made in hell, I guess. We have a lot in common.
Yeah, well, what do you suppose she did?
I don't know. Killed some people and became the greatest chef in her world.
You're overselling it. Carrots are amateur hour. Do you know they don't really help your eyesight?
Actually, if I remember correctly, her carrot dishes do. In fact, they give you a highly penetrative gamma vision which liquefies stone.
Girl of my dreams. But alright, she's with Crouton. We just gotta let that go. Spaulding's out. Where do we go from here?
I can't allow us to believe that Spaulding has really left the Flavor Zone already, or we have no dreams to hope on. So, the simple answer is, as expediently as possible, we find Spaulding. But before that, if Crouton makes good on his threats, my line chefs are in serious danger. They've been separated throughout the prison.
Well, why didn't they meet us there?
Spaulding was meant to help gather up the essential staff resources. If we had too many chefs convening at the same place at once, it would raise flags with Inferno's men.
Well, how many men have you got?
I have 6 line chefs. Each one has a piece of contraband which is essential to making my signature dish.
Well, why is all this a priority? I mean, why don't we just focus on Spaulding? What even is your dish?
It's everything.
See, there that is again. That doesn't tell us anything.
Like any good meal, it'll be a thing of beauty when it all comes together. You'll see. Let's move now, swiftly.
Hey, Paul, did you mean all that stuff you said about, respecting me and everything?
Lowry, as long as I can depend on you, I mean every word.
Yeah, and then how about when you can't?
I'm sure it won't come up.
One more question, though. Seems like Crouton has a lot of friends around here, so if we don't find Spaulding, we wind up stuck here in the Flavor Zone. What exactly do we do then?
I suppose, Lowry, there's only one answer to that. If we don't find Spaulding, then we die trying.
Well, have gun will travel. My uncle used to say that. He tried to make a car that was powered by gunpowder combustion, and he traveled straight to an early grave. But he did travel. Paul, aside from straight to hell, where are we going?
Where's the first of my guys, Mason?
Your first line chef should be waiting in cell block K.
Our first rescue is up for order in cell block K. We'll be meeting my line chef, Pepperoni.
Wait, is pepperoni the name or the ingredient that he's got?
It's not his given name, but it's the name he took after we started working together.
So what's your name? Deep Dish?
You laugh, but there is a brotherhood to the whole affair.
Yeah, a brotherhood where you all take silly names and have a secret handshake. Are girls allowed in your club?
Paul strikes me as more of a Mr. Tomato Sauce. Makes the pizza what it is.
Thank you, Lowry, but I don't have another name. It's something my line chefs did independently of me.
But are girls allowed?
Well, they aren't strictly forbidden.
Right. But your staff has no girls.
I suppose not, now that you mention it.
Right, because no girl wants to go around with a nickname like Cheese.
Now, Elva, I'm sure that there are pizza toppings suitable to be appended to a female line chef.
Like what? Chili pepper? Actually, pepper might be a good one.
Who puts chili peppers on a pizza? You use banana peppers. Now you're going around calling a girl Banana Pepper.
Basil?
Yeah, it's still kind of a guy's name.
Green pepper could work. I've never given this thought before.
You got a non-inclusive kitchen, Paul. You're never gonna find an equally skilled wife to help with the business this way.
Well, they're my line chefs. It would be unethical to date them.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why you're single, Paul.
Look, this is neither here nor there.
You have been in a co-ed prison full of chefs who share exactly your unethical interests, and you couldn't find someone.
Man, I know I couldn't.
It's okay, Lowry. I'm sure you've been busy too.
Nah, it's 'cause I smell like beans, Elvis. Also, I'm really creepy.
I'd love to move on, but can't resist getting in the last word. Elva, you're older than the two of us, perhaps combined.
Ow. Okay, now listen.
Where's your significant
Now-
other?
Okay, first of all, a woman ages like buying granola. Stored appropriately in a dry environment, she'll keep for a long time. Second of all, I'm married to granola. Happily, thank you.
Well, then I suppose we could all admit that we're most attracted to food, and the only reason this is coming up now is because an atavistic Lowry nearly killed us for a bunny wife.
The more I think about that, the more embarrassed I get. She does carrots. What was I thinking? Beans and carrots.
A stupendous and valuable observation in the middle of this high-stakes prison riot. Can we please move along before Guy Inferno rounds us all up and gets things under control?
Lead on, Captain. God, beans and carrots.
You guys carry on through the prison. The general bulk of the chaos has died down, and someone has disabled the alarms. Prisoners run by you in the halls and don't pay a lot of attention to you. You pass one guy pushing another down the hall in a wheeled garbage can.
Really just a tad juvenile for people that you bill as geniuses, isn't it, Paul?
There's an element of genius in the free spirit. As I say, Elva, all paths into the flavor zone are valid. Yet there's only one path out.
Death.
No. Escape by using Spaulding.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Or death.
You guys arrive at cell block K. You reach the cell where Pepperoni is supposed to be and find him laying down in bed. He appears to be asleep.
Asleep? In the middle of all this? No, that can't be.
That looks like Crouton already got to him.
Mason, is there any blood or anything?
It doesn't look like it.
Maybe he actually is just asleep.
Lowry, off the top of my head, I can think of at least a dozen ways to kill a man without a trace.
None of those count if you're using poison.
Why would poison be precluded from our assumptions? And how broad of a definition of poison are we even talking?
You know, arsenic, cyanide, that kind of thing. Boring poisoning, that doesn't count.
Oh, well, in that case, I've had more time since the previous moment, and I can think of at least a baker's dozen ways to kill a man with food.
He's not dead, but you'll all wish you were. You turn around and find yourself face to face with Pimienta Phantasma. He's holding an acorn shell, which he cracks in his palm before blowing out a cloud of powder into your faces. Your eyes immediately well up with tears and your nose starts running. You've been hit with some kind of spicy stuff.
Curse you, Pimienta! What manner of evil is this?
Oh, God! It burns! It burns! I'm not used to spicy! Granola's not usually spicy!
That's a shame. If you'd built up a tolerance, these would go much more smoothly.
I'm fine. I can do spicy.
Larry, your nose is running like a faucet. You were not aware it could produce that much fluid.
No, really? Hit me again. I do really good with spicy.
Everyone feels the ground sort of give out from underneath them, but you're still standing. Your eyes begin to clear, but everything around you still looks distorted. Especially Pimienta, who seems to be surrounded by some kind of shimmering aura. He's grinning ear to ear.
Okay, first of all, rude.
Blast it all! He's already won! Elva, look down!
You do, and see your body lying on the floor below you.
What?
I thought you should do some soul searching. See if what you want is really what you need,
We've been hit by Pimienta's spicy acorn powder, which is said to be so spicy it rips your soul from its very body. We've been disembodied!
Well, hey, at least it's good to lose a little weight. It's like health food, I guess.
Larry, I'm the expert on health food, and I can't see how expelling a soul from the body is healthy.
Well, you see, ma'am, it's really more of a cleansing journey for your spirit. A place where you can meet old friends and hash out old differences. A kind of head start on purgatory for some. In fact, I think here comes a friend now. Looks like one of yours, Paul. Pimienta steps aside and waits for something. Sounds like wet shuffling.
Paul, I don't suppose you happen to know a very helpful and friendly plumber.
Yes. His name was Barley, and he died while fixing my toilet. I've blamed myself for years, and I'm eager to reconcile.
Wait, really?
No.
What lurches around the corner is a man whose skin is melting off like cheese on a pizza. He's dripping a thick, goopy blood the consistency of sauce, riddled with blood clots. The flesh occasionally pops and releases steam. You have to understand, Paul. Caesar doesn't want you making pizza unless all the pieces are properly in place. Your victims have told me all about what he does, and I have to agree with Caesar. I don't want to be around here when that goes down.
So your answer is to kill me with my own past sins. Is that so, Pimienta?
Caesar says he wants you alive, so I'll keep you sleeping. As long as you hold on by a thread, they can't really kill you. But then, they may know a few fates worse than death. Paul, the pizza spirit lunges at you. He grabs you and his burning pizza skin sizzles as it makes contact with your ethereal flesh. 9 stun.
Ah, you should be grateful. I made you whole.
Hey, so, Pimienta, is it just Paul who's gonna be punished by the dead? 'Cause,
I'll come back and let you go if the situation calls for it. I hope it does, Paul, for this is going to be a long wait for you. Pimienta strolls away with his hands in his pockets. Paul, do you have a response for this pizza attack?
Try and kick away from it?
You kick the spirit's melting flesh, but your foot only sinks into its knee. Take another 5 stun.
Someone please help, this really does burn.
Come up behind Paul and pull on him.
Okay, you try to kick away again, and I'm gonna help pull you loose. Try and grab a bedsheet.
Your hands pass right through the bedsheet. Paul, your own skin feels like it's baking in an oven. The zombie lunges forward and bites down on your arm. 8 more stun.
Kick loose with Elva's help.
You stumble away from the spirit, falling backwards on the floor. Your skin appears fine, but the pain still lingers.
Slug that zombie in its stupid face.
Lowry socks the zombie square in the jaw, causing it to trip on the bunk.
Paul's been bit. He's gonna turn into one of those.
Get up. I'm not sure that's how that works, Lowry.
It's like that in every movie.
Shuffle carefully around the down zombie and get out of the cell.
You get outside and find the hallways are littered with people in various forms of distress. Most of them appear to be burning alive in hot cheese. Some of them can't move and just reach furiously towards Paul from the ground, from the wall, the ceiling, wherever they're melted to.
Lord in heaven, what did your pizza do to these people, Paul?
Well, this segment of things was, in fairness to me, quite brief. Probably only lasted a second or two at most. I feel it's rather unfair I'm being judged for how they looked precisely when they died.
Is your pizza a bomb? Did you blow up a city with a hot cheese bomb?
No. How droll would that be? A mere bomb. These people are all better off for what I did. Their souls are merely trapped in an awkward transition, which, for all I know, has been completely fabricated by Pimienta to villainize me.
You are a villain! Look at this!
Yes, but my villainy was much more elegant than this makes things appear.
Yeah, okay, but exactly how many more of these are we gonna be seeing? I mean, I'm not judging you or anything. I buried a whole city myself.
One of the tortured souls shambles up to you guys. He's not all melted like the other ones. He vomits up a ton of beans and chili sauce.
Oh, see, that one's one of mine. Yeah, okay.
Well, I didn't exactly count, but I'm pretty sure I only killed a couple baker's dozens worth of people. So I would appreciate it if we didn't have to deal with all of your sins first. We could at least get mine out of the way.
Well, let us simply say that before I atone, I may as well count each grain of sand on the beach.
You guys find that most of these horrific spirits are not very nimble. And as long as you watch your step and keep moving, they have a hard time catching you.
I guess in that case we wander carefully down the halls. I suppose this would explain why we haven't found Pepperoni's soul lingering in the area. He shares the same sins and must be on the move.
Is this what we have to look forward to when we die?
Maybe it's what you have to look forward to. My diet's so healthy I'm gonna just live forever.
Well, what do we do now? I don't want to spend the rest of this riot wandering a valley of slow-moving pizza corpses.
We'll have to find some weakness in what Pimienta has done to us. Mason, can we pass through walls or anything?
Nope. They're slightly distorted, like looking through a fishbowl, but they're solid as ever.
Which way did that Pimienta guy go? He can hear us. Maybe we can hover next to his ear and make loud screaming noises until he decides conventional murder is preferable.
I am all about that plan. Man, haunting my enemies is exactly what I want to do in the world beyond. But Elva, if he kills us for good, I think we're, stuck here for good.
Well, it's not like we can just hope another guard rounds the corner and saves our butts.
Wait, maybe we can.
Paul, a pizza ghost tries to grab your leg.
Get off! Perhaps hunting Pimienta isn't our only option. The guards are on edge. Whatever they have that qualifies for a psyche is probably paper thin at this point.
Well, I guess it's a shame they didn't lock us up with chains, because then I could rattle them around a little bit. Get in the spirit. Get it? Spirit.
I guess we start looking for some more guards.
You think you would. You take a few steps and the ground starts to slope as the entire prison goes topsy-turvy. You begin sliding down the halls uncontrollably.
Oh, heavens.
Is this normal around here?
You fall. The cell bars blur past. The pizza people stuck in the walls begin to blend in until the prison is full of horrific, melted faces. The bars become fingers. The windows become eyes. A darkness reels up ahead of you.
Try and grab a hold of a door or something.
You reach out and hook your hands onto a bar, come to a violent temporary stop, but being that the bars are now big, long fingers with mottled fingernails, they flick you away and off you go into the void. All of you land with a splash somewhere wet. The landing doesn't hurt, being a sort of spiritual experience, but it's hard to see, and it feels like the ground is still sloped. You're ankle deep in some kind of sticky fluid. You can just barely make out a figure wandering along the walls. The head is misshapen and broken. Hello? Is someone there? I need help. I have a head injury. Officer down! Your eyes adjust to the darkness and it's that guard you killed earlier. He looks like a smashed pumpkin. It doesn't appear he can hear you or see you in that state.
Nah, well, at least this is recent history.
I am about to freak out here, Paul. Are you not freaking out? How are you not freaking out?
Is this what Pimienta does to people? He belongs in this prison.
Well, he should definitely be kept away from schools and playgrounds at the least. These PG-13 antics are nothing but bravado.
Who's bravado? As far as we know, this is what the afterlife looks like. This is it.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I still get nervous watching Alice in Wonderland. That cat grinning, out of nowhere, I can't handle it.
The ceiling grins at you, revealing a set of disgusting snaggle teeth.
Okay, that was not an invitation.
Yes, wipe that grin off your face up there. You see, Lowry, the trick is to not show fear. I'm sure that this is psychological as much as anything, merely reacting to us. Why look, we said we were seeking a guard, and there one is. Coincidence? Likely not.
Yeah, what do we do if it's not coincidence, and we keep on tilting down, and it gets a little more fiery and a little hotter the further that we go?
You begin to see a glowing light at the end of the tunnel. It's a warm glow, like a lantern. The ground tilts slightly more and the water rushes downward.
Okay, alright. I start climbing up away from the hellmouth.
You see a fiery death, and I see a pizza oven. Get a hold of yourself, Lowry. The more you fear, the worse it will get.
I start climbing upwards too. You want to trust it's just a pizza oven down there? Well, be my guest and just let it take you on down then.
Well, Paul?
No sense in testing it. I'm confident enough in my assessment. Let's go.
The light behind you is indeed fire, and the intensity of it is growing. You can see a lot of the hallway, and it looks like the walls are made of combinations of pizza cheese and meat, with human faces and body parts warped into all of it. The fluid you're standing in appears to be a mix of pizza grease and blood. You find a turn in the hall, climb up into it, and now can stand kind of awkwardly in a crook between the wall and the floor. But at least it's dry this way.
This is all you. It's all you, Paul. This is all you.
I may have a fair amount to atone for. I'm afraid I may monopolize this bit of our supernatural punishment.
Man, I thought I'd get it bad with the beans. I killed the whole city, Paul. I mean, where's my punishment? Not that I'm eager, but come on, I can't spend eternity being punished for a pizza thing I didn't do.
As I understand, this is only until they need us. It won't be for
only
all
until
of
they
eternity.
need you. What guarantee do either of us have that we're coming out of this? For all we know, we're trapped in your personal pizza hell from now on.
Now listen,
I
it
can't
won't
be in pizza hell forever. It's not even poetic. I'm supposed to get tortured with beans.
I haven't even seen anyone upset with me about my health food. You know, a lot of people came to me.
Oh, so you had volunteers for your experiment, and you're just a saint, are you?
Surely not evil enough to get my own little corner of hell. What is this? Did they name a whole wing after you?
As though you wouldn't have taken the same steps if you knew it was the path to perfection. Just give yourself time, Elva. You'll be there eventually.
All I ever did was bring out the potential in people. You know that all the ingredients of a healthy body are already in a healthy body?
In a healthy body. And what? You want to be congratulated for cannibalism? Here at the precipice of judgment? Are you hoping that God grades on a curve?
I just love beans. I just wanted to share beans with everyone. I admit, I knew there'd be deaths. I thought everyone would be happy, though, just because there'd be so many beans.
You think I practice cannibalism? If I told you that your head was located in your hindquarters, would you assume that I eat butts just because I know about butts?
What you do in the privacy of your bedroom is of no concern to me.
A face bursts out of the wall and begins screaming.
Right. Yes. I'm going to go back to my previous estimate and insist that this place must be responding to our own psychic energy. When we thought of finding a guard, we thought of the one from earlier, who may perhaps be on his way to fiery retribution. It's likely he was a line chef after all, which means that he participated in some crime which his boss is now paying for in the flavor zone.
Well, I'm thinking that I won the argument. That face in the wall, that was mocking you, Paul.
Fine. Wish granted. I am indeed creating a great deal of tension with my own past, but given that I intend to repeat some of those steps on my way out, it bears thinking about.
What's your pizza gonna do, Paul? Is it gonna kill everyone?
From a certain perspective, the important thing is that it will make the flavor zone unsalvageable. Guy Inferno's operations will be ended, and that alone is a goal worth striving towards.
I don't care. I just want out of this place. I don't care if you make the pizza or what.
Then let us test my theory and focus on the guard station. Laura, you know where it is. Elva, you simply focus on following us. If my theory is correct, we'll get there in no time.
Fine. If that's what it takes.
Just get me out of here, man. Anything. I'll do anything.
You guys focus together on getting to the guard barracks, and the trip is kind of a blur. Before you know it, you're in a room with a few battered and tired-looking guards. Their beds are made of bodies twisted up in writhing, disgusting position, and the walls still have human faces in them. They're made of cheese. But these look like normal live guards in here. They also look defeated and nervous.
Well, I'll be a son of a gun. We're here. Now what?
Well, now, we haunt some guards and convince them that the only way to stop it is to go where we are and douse us in mustard.
All right, I mean, is that all? Mason, I walk up to a guard and start talking directly into his ear. Whoa! You have to go to cell block, I think K? Is it K? Yeah, and douse some people in mustard so they wake up from their haunted sleep.
The guard swats at his ear like he's trying to shoo away a bug. Man, I'm losing it. I feel like I'm hearing voices in the walls.
Yes, there's faces in the walls, and the walls are made of pizza cheese. We hate it here! Let us out!
Have you ever stopped to wonder if so many hauntings are ineffectual because the ones doing the hauntings aren't clear on what they need? Here, let me try. You there. I will never leave you until you visit cell block K. Go there now and wait for further instruction.
Man, do you know when our next mission is supposed to go out? The guy he's talking to says, "No, I think we're supposed to just bunker down." Man, whose bright idea was it to hire former line chefs for security? Those guys have it out for us. We're all traitors. It's no mercy. The first guy says, I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about the next one. I got this, sense. The hairs are standing up on the back of my neck. It's like I know they want us to be there.
Okay, let me try. I will make a bottomless 3-bean dip if you spray us with mustard, Mr. Guard. This is a one-time offer. You'll never get another chance to be thanked for pulling that stuff on us.
Like, we're going to get to the next cell block and it's just going to be like beans. Do you know one of the guys in here buried a whole city in beans? The other guard goes, "Well, you want to know what makes me mad? Where are they getting the contraband? Nothing grows in the flavor zone. Nothing's supposed to come in." The first guard leans in and whispers, "Traitors. Like double agents." Some of the guards aren't totally on board with Guy Inferno's vision, and they've been trading contraband for the recipes and stuff. The second guard rolls his eyes. "Yeah, of course. And where would that leave us? Man, I hope those guys get their nuts turned into pecan pies or something." One of the guards rolls out of bed with a groan. "Man, you guys can't let me get any sleep." "Fine. If that's how it's going to be, let me check if we got anyone on the radio." He heads over to the desk, sits down, and picks up the radio. "Hello, this is Sergeant Maraschino. Can we get a contact the other way? Over."
Ghosts can usually communicate through the radio. Paul, give it a try.
Okay, I guess I lean really close to the radio. "This is Sergeant Cabbages. We need assistance immediately at cell block K. Please, come immediately. Over." You can hear your voice coming through, but it sounds far away and full of static. Maraschino tries the radio again. "Hello? You're breaking up. Can I get an identity? I repeat, you are breaking up." "Go to cell block K. Cell block K. That's Kilo." He gives it a long, concerned look. You're not sure what's going on in the guy's head, but he seems really creeped out. There's a lot of other people trying to talk over you. Please, you're breaking up. Just one more time." Speaking over us. Well, I'm certain it was only me.
Maraschino sighs and hangs up the radio. He pulls out a little hand mirror from his pocket and starts looking himself over, checking the bags under his eyes.
I get down and I breathe on his mirror. Try to fog it up.
You breathe on his mirror, and slowly it starts to fog up. He grimaces and rubs the fog away.
Oh, heck, guys, I can fog his mirror. I'll keep breathing. Someone draw the letter K on it.
Okay, get ready to draw the letter K.
When he puts down the mirror, Lowry starts breathing heavily. It fogs up again, but Paul, when you go to write on it, you find you can't easily clear the fog. You have to press down really hard and write really slowly.
All right, this is far more difficult than it looks, so keep breathing.
I'm starting to hyperventilate here, Paul.
Okay, well, I'm halfway done with the first stem.
Only halfway? Come on, man.
Okay, and that does it. So we have what could be an I or a lowercase l.
I'm gonna pass out. Elvis, you come breathe on this thing for me. I need a second.
Okay.
All right, and here we have the second stem.
Maraschino snaps the case shut and hurriedly stashes it back in his pocket. He's pale. He looks like he's seen a ghost.
You jerk. You didn't even let us finish the letter. Knock all his papers over.
Some of the papers do in fact go airborne when you swing at them. Maraschino gets up out of his chair.
Where do you think you're going? I grab him.
You go to grab him, and your body sort of passes through his. He lurches a bit with your momentum, then rubs his arm. One of the other guys looks up. You okay, Sarge? Yeah, just my arm fell asleep.
Okay, try that again, but this time try to stay inside his arm.
You hover and stay, and your arm stays in him. You can slowly move his arm around. You pull it up in front of his face, and he looks pretty bewildered.
Get the other arm. I got the other.
Elvis steps up to this guy and possesses his other arm. He goes,
Put my head inside his head.
In a few short seconds, Paul, you are looking out from the eyes of Sergeant Maraschino. You don't have control of any of the rest of his body, but you do have his head. Another guard goes, Are you sure you're all right, boss?
Yes, of course. It's just, I fear I've heard a distress call from Cell Block K, and I'm loath to dispatch us in our current condition, but the lives of our fellows may be at stake.
Yeah?
Given the circumstances, I suppose we could merely guess that the other officers are in danger. I believe it would be best if we recovered any survivors and fortified our position.
I thought that's what we were doing.
Can you ignore a voice on the radio pleading for help?
The guys exchange glances.
Then I'll have no more complaints. Marshal yourselves and we'll depart for Cell Block K.
The guards get up, slowly. One of them mutters something about a mental breakdown.
Can I follow them out?
You can't get the legs moving.
Ilva, Lowry, I need your help. Go ahead and insinuate yourselves into the man's legs. Together we'll walk him to our destination.
All right, I take over a leg.
I'll get my side.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Sir, are you okay?
Yes, it's just that my legs fell asleep. I guess the rest of my body didn't wish to rise from slumber.
Are you sure? 'Cause that sounds kind of like a stroke.
No, it isn't.
I mean, if you can't feel your whole body, I'm pretty sure.
Have you never heard of phantom body before?
Well, I guess...
And besides, what are you now, a doctor? Come on, let's move out. 1, 2, 1, 2.
You clumsily lurch your stolen body out the door. Onward to Block K! Out of the barracks you guys go. Lowry's on the left side of the body, Elvis controls the right side, and Paul, you control the head.
It's the talky part. So we basically turned this guy into a Power Rangers battle armor.
Don't be dumb, Paul. He's small and not made of animals.
I don't know if that's actually true, Lowry. All the cells that make up a human body might be considered animals, but I don't remember if that's accurate.
All right, fine, Elvis. He's not made of rad animals that kids would buy toys of.
We could still have a theme song, though.
If you want a theme song, you're in charge of that, Paul.
Go Phantasm Rangers, do.
Anyway, your possessed squad makes its way to Cell Block K where all your bodies are at. Along the way, you get into the occasional small skirmish with the other inmates. It's fairly benign until out of nowhere, a wall caves in and a massive shark man steps through the wreckage. It's Snack Attack Mac, and he's got a big old shark grin. His shirt is covered in ketchup and mustard stains, but it doesn't look like it slowed him down much.
Mac. His strength alone is one thing, but more to fear is his agility. This beast can outrun a speeding car over short distances. and throw a rock with enough force to kill a full-grown elk. There'll be no fleeing from a battle chosen by this monster.
Sounds like you've done your homework, Mac says, taking a step over the scattered masonry. Are you the guy in charge?
No, that would be him. Point to some random guy. Fire at will, men!
They start shooting at Mac, but basically they're just splattering him in fresh ketchup. He scoops up a stone and hurls it at a guy. It hits him with a crunch and the rock bursts into powder. Then someone throws a mustard grenade. You hear the lumbering thump, thump, thump of Mac charging up to someone in the fog, and then a sound like celery cracking.
Run! Oh, wait, yeah, Elvis, Lowry.
I'm already running.
Yeah, it's not our body, but we need to get at least one guard out of here.
Paul, before you can even give the command, your feet are moving and you flee the scene, following the ancient rule that if you can't outrun a bear, you can at least outrun the guys behind you.
We're never gonna make it by ourselves, Paul. We gotta figure something out.
You're right. As soon as we're far enough away, the next time we stumble across anyone, take them down, steal their clothes, and we'll proceed incognito.
We'll be inmates in the body of a guard disguised as inmates, like some kind of unholy turducken cordon bleu.
An apt comparison, Elvis. As chefs, we can truly do wonders by stuffing things inside of other things.
You stumble across a guy. He stops in his tracks, leaning over awkwardly as he just about falls off balance.
Shoot him.
And just like that, a new uniform is acquired. You continue on to cell block K. Most of the other inmates barely give you a second glance. In no time, you're standing over your own bodies.
Creepy. All right, now what do we do?
Well, I suggest we hand this guard's gun off to one of us. That'll make 2 in total in our possession. After that, we ought to tie his pants around his ankles, blindfold him, then set off a mustard grenade in the cell.
You guys cooperate to cripple this guard when he wakes up, then pull the pin off the mustard grenade and drop it. Boom! It goes off, and everyone lurches awake, including Pepperoni, Paul's line chef. Sergeant Maraschino starts to take off his blindfold. What's going on? Where am I?
Bash him with the butt of the rifle.
And he's down.
Are you back in the world of the living, Pepperoni?
Pepperoni pats himself down. I honestly can't say. I started running, and then the more I ran, the more I got lost. Eventually it got dark, and all I could hear was the roaring sound of an oven. All around me were the eyes of people who fell victim to the recipe, asking me why. Why?
I put my hand on Pepperoni's knee. They never understood us or our genius. Pimienta's work is simply mind games. It's clear he's jealous of our prowess and is seeking not to be upstaged on the eve of our escape.
Of course. Yes, of course. Pimienta probably controlled the whole thing.
He's a master of spicy food, and it's no secret that a spicy dish before bed can cause nightmares. It's a theory I used to consider in my youth before I wisened up and focused on more important things. I helped Pepperoni to his feet.
Well, that was a lot of work just to get one guy, Paul. We need 5 more of these MacGuffins?
They aren't MacGuffins. They're skilled kitchen staff, and yes, they're necessary to create the Gaia pizza. Our next target is Cell Block J.
Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Pepperoni. I'm Lowry, one of Paul's neighbors. You know, in the cells. I do a good bean dish.
Pepperoni shakes your hand.
Before we go, did Sergeant Maraschino have any more mustard grenades on him?
Yeah, he had 2 grenades.
Take 'em both.
Just a moment, don't you think we should discuss who holds those? Preferably someone with the strongest throwing arm.
Ah, heck, that rules me out. I always got picked last for baseball.
Look, you guys just keep the guns. I got a plan for these.
Well, if you say so. Let's get moving.
You rush down the halls and towards the stairwell that leads to the catwalk to Cell Block K. But sitting in front of the stairs is none other than Pimienta Phantasma himself. He looks up slowly. Well, Paul, already got through purgatory? Seems a little short for someone like you.
A god rarely pays for his sins, Pimienta.
Is that what you think? Pimienta pulls out a knife. He fishes a bunch of acorns out of his other pocket. I guess when you go down this time, I'll have to cut your hamstrings. You can still make your pizza that way, can't you? Assuming we even want you to.
Hang on, Paul. I've got this. I step forward.
Don't speak nonsense, Elva. Pimienta isn't one to be underestimated, let alone fought by yourself.
Oh, he's nothing but just a little bit of Halloween theming. It's all a gimmick. Mason, I take out the mustard grenade, pull out the pin, then hold the trigger.
What, going to throw a mustard grenade? I already thought of that. The acorn shells protect my spices from being ruined.
Well, lucky it's not for you. See, you hit me with that stuff and I'll pass out. But if I pass out, I'll drop the grenade. The mustard hits me and I wake right back up.
That's fairly clever. What's your name? Elva?
Ah, he's right. That I would have just thrown the grenade.
My name is Elva, but I don't see a lot of point in introducing myself to a dead man.
Big talk for someone who only has 2 of those grenades. I've got an entire handful of acorns.
Sonny, I might not even need this one. I break my molar.
Your molar shatters, releasing a hidden store of Elva's secret ingredient. In an instant, Elva's muscle mass doubles in size, from a wiry old woman to a sexy CrossFit trainer.
Okay. Rush this guy!
Elva tears down the hallway with the speed of an Olympic athlete, slamming shoulder first into Pimienta's nose. The man stumbles backwards, holding his bleeding schnoz as he regains his balance.
How you like that, huh? Kick the knife out of his hand.
Pimienta reflexively jumps away, falling towards the stairs, but instead of landing on them, he passes right through them like a specter. You hear a thump on the floor down below, and if you peer around the stairs, you see him on the floor. He's getting up slowly. Ugh.
Leap down on top of him.
You jump down, landing on his chest. You hear the ribs break and Pimienta spits up blood. I can't believe I'm being done in by an old woman.
Oh, well, you know what they say, Pimienta. If recklessness doesn't do you in, old age will get you.
Wait. You and me, we don't have any reason to fight. You just got caught up in Paul's collateral, right?
I just glare at him.
No, okay. Listen. I am a useful man. I can help you. I'll work with Paul and you both, I will.
That's all I needed to hear, Pimienta.
Thank goodness,
Because it lets me know that Crouton doesn't have things sewn up as well as it seems. And you can risk looking like you switched sides for even just a little while. But I don't need cooks in my kitchen who can't commit to their jobs. I give this guy's head a coup de grace axe kick.
With a swift, dramatic kick, you take Pimienta out of action, sending him on a permanent spirit journey he'll likely never return from.
Good heavens. You really didn't need the grenade after all.
Did anyone see where I left the pin?
I guess we look around for it.
You find it and put it back in the grenade.
I must say, I was beginning to worry that some of your bluster might be mere pig-headedness. How long do you stay at this elevated physical ability?
What do you mean? I'll stay like this for good. It's how I look in all my TV appearances.
Unreasonable. If that were so, you wouldn't have arrived here looking as you did.
All right, it only lasts a few minutes, right now, but I was in the process of a longer-lasting formula. All this is a proof of concept, you understand?
I understand entirely too well.
You guys carry on up the stairs and cross the catwalk to cell block J, but come to a stop when you notice a pink gummy material at the edges of the door.
Well, I guess no way to go but forward, right?
Swing the doors open.
You swing the doors open, and at first, you think you've fallen back into the shadow realm. The walls are covered in a pink asymmetrical substance, but then the smell hits you and you realize it's candy. It's taffy. The entire hall on down is covered in the stuff.
Lafferty.
I guess the rumors were true.
Lafferty is the guy made out of candy, isn't he?
Yes, it's rumored that he could excrete glucose, but this exceeds even my expectations.
Is he one of Crouton's goons?
I'm afraid he is. And unless you know how to take advantage of candy, we may find our opponent has the home turf advantage.
Well, I never touch this stuff. Candy's bad for you.
How many times can you tap into your so-described inner health?
Most of these teeth are falsies. Back in the day, I realized it'd be inconvenient to get caught looking my age, so I had my teeth replaced with these hollow capsules. Now I can be a fitness guru anytime for at least a little while, until I run out of teeth.
Oh, in that case, thanks for not beating me up when I was trying to kill you guys.
I would have if I had to.
The past is the past, fortunate circumstances or no. 2 of my line chefs are here in cell block J. We have no case but to carry on.
When you step into the hall, you can feel the taffy sticking to your boots. Walking is manageable, but a lot of effort. Eventually, the taffy starts coming in different colors. The ground is like lime green grass and tufted in some places. There's a little taffy bunny sitting in it. Then you spot one of the cells. It's got a plaque hanging from it. The plaque is brown like wood and has a picture of an anvil drawn on it. When you look inside, it seems the cell has been redesigned with taffy furniture to look like a blacksmith's. There's a taffy anvil behind an inmate who's wearing a taffy smith's apron over his prison garb. When he sees you, he says, yon adventurer, travelers, come to my, this is the smith. I verily make swords and horseshoes and the like. Does doth need any of mine services?
Yeah, heck, I'll take a horseshoe.
Forsooths. Here you go, my good man. Lowry, he pulls a horseshoe out from under his counter and hands it to you.
It's made of taffy, right? I start eating it.
That'll be a scant $5 Tafferty dollars, sirs.
Nah. This is a robbery. I stole this horseshoe.
Oh, I don't know what to do about that.
Cry about it, dork.
Sir, what on earth is going on here?
Look, man, Tafferty took over and he is crazy. He's saying that this is the kingdom of Cell Block J and that he's one of Caesar's knights. He's been going around turning everything into some kind of taffy wonderland, and if he catches you acting out of character, he absorbs you into the taffy and you're never heard from again.
The door's just down the hall to your left. Why don't you make a run for it, Smithy?
The thin frame of Lafferty jauntily bursts up from behind the counter. He's wearing a suit of armor made of taffy and carrying a taffy sword on his hip. He springs up and down like an accordion, turns with a manic smile towards the smith, and then the smith starts rapidly sinking into the taffy. Oh God! I'm sorry! And then he's gone. Well, if it isn't Paul, Tafferty announces, and his merry band of men. A fine morn to all of you! But alas, I fear I'm restricted from showing you the most proper hospitality, because as I'm sure you're aware, you've angered King Caesar.
I merely wish to carry out precisely what Caesar hired me for, Tafferty. What have you done with my line chefs?
You're trying to do what he wanted you to do, and if I'm not mistaken, that's not the same as what he currently wants you to do. If I may further recall, the good knight Pimienta was tasked with keeping you in cell block K, there yonder. But it seems that no heat, ghastly or otherwise, could contain such a cool man as yourself, Paul.
Excuse me, it was actually me who killed Pimienta?
Oh, then my apologies, fair madam. I did the disservice of misjudging you.
Just plain sexism is what it is. Or ageism. Or sanityism. People are always coming to conclusions about my sanity.
Well, trust me, I know that feeling.
We all do here.
But regardless of who did the deed, the real fact remains that as the saying goes, you catch more flies than sweetness than with vinegar. And I've never heard of anyone catching flies with ghost peppers. Ugh.
Where are my line chefs, Tafferty?
Goodness. You're so about the objective, Paul. Don't you know that good business means making friends? But fine, I will elucidate. You see, you and your friends have violated the laws laid out by King Caesar, and as one of his loyal vassals, I have no choice but to extract justice. But of course, I'm a modern-thinking man, and I believe in a fair trial. So, if you want to see your line chefs, you'll have to explore the entirety of Kingdom J. Uncover the secret entrance to my castle, and there defend yourselves before a jury of your peers.
And you really expect me to believe that at the end of such nonsensical games, I'll be given a fair trial, and that you're operating on some sort of rules?
I don't ask you to. I tell you to. Try to cheat or escape, and I'll kill your line chefs lickety-split. It's my fiefdom, I make the rules. Lafferty springs below the counter. A sign swings over that says, out to lunch, and then he's gone.
Wonderful. Looks like we've got no choice but to entertain a grown child until we can think of a way through this.
I'll be honest, I kind of like Tafferty. Also his taffy is really good. I know this is a horseshoe, but this is the tastiest horseshoe that I've ever eaten.
How's all this work, Paul? Is he watching us right now? Can he hear us through the taffy?
I've never really seen him in action. Lafferty has been surrounded by rumors for as long as he's been here. He's worked for Caesar for quite some time and has always had a rather eccentric bent to his personality, but apparently he knew better than to manifest all this where Guy Inferno would see it.
How wouldn't Guy Inferno know? This is a lot.
Inferno is not omniscient. Sometimes he catches a chef before the chef does the unthinkable. Sometimes he catches them afterward. As far as I know of Tafferty, he's fond of games, but rarely likes to be the man directly in charge. He prefers to play the role of a problem solver, and when Inferno grabbed him, he was in the process of intentionally making candy-related problems that only he could solve. I heard something once about a taffy gorilla attacking the local mayor, and several other outlandish stories. Now I have no idea which could be true and which must be fabricated.
That bunny we saw back there wasn't alive. It was just decoration.
Yes, and if Tafferty needs other inmates to serve the roles of his peasantry, it's perhaps unlikely that he can make independent taffy life.
Unless he thinks it's more fun to just make people play the parts.
I suppose we should express all due caution.
So what do you guys do?
I guess carry on for now. Let's go see the village.
You see a variety of other shops where the cells should be. People try to sell you taffy fruits, taffy baskets, taffy cookware. None of them seem terribly enthused about the whole thing. A few are trying to do fake English accents. Eventually, you're overlooking the cafeteria of the cell block, located in the center of the structure, and down below are a bunch of little huts. You see the heads of several guards stuck on taffy sticks. Up above you, there's a candy castle suspended upside down. You don't see any way in.
Oh, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair.
No dice. If she's up there, her hair probably's got taffy in it.
Well, it was worth a shot.
So we have to get up there, huh?
Could you climb or jump it?
You know, guys, we're thinking about getting up there, but I also don't see any way down.
Yes, Lowry, it's funny how these things work out, isn't it?
I mean, I don't think that castle's up there just to keep people out, right? I don't know about where you guys are from, but where I'm from, usually you go to trial knowing the charges. If you can't afford a lawyer, the state would provide one to you to lose the case on your behalf. I don't want to be doing taffy paperwork or filing an amicus brief or whatever. I don't even know what those are.
Lowry, an amicus brief is when a third party to a court case offers the court suggestions or insights into the trial so that the judge has a better idea of what he's judging and what's at stake.
See, yeah, I don't know exactly what's at stake. I would make a terrible amicus.
Well, apparently we're not on trial until we get up there.
This is infuriating. We have 2 grenades which would neutralize some of this taffy, 2 guns, perhaps 1.5 magazines of ketchup, which, by the way, hold this. Hand my gun to Pepperoni.
Oh, thanks, boss.
I trust you with it.
A whole team of guards already got wiped out. Look at 'em. Those heads don't look like taffy to me.
Well, who's responsible, Lafferty? Excuse me. Mason, I try to get the attention of another inmate.
Yeah, me. An inmate comes up to you.
Can you tell me how these guards were slain?
Oh, them? We mostly overwhelmed them, but to be honest, Lafferty did a lot of the work. He just kept making taffy, and the guards got pinned down. When they ran out of ammo, he just came down on them. Man, sure was a sight, good sirs. We folks are surely lucky to have such a brave knight lording over the realm.
I guess that rules our meager supplies out of the equation, at least in a direct method.
Actually, Paul, you know what? Just get us up there. I think I got a plan.
Care to share with us?
I can't. The wall's got ears, man. You just have to trust me.
Fine. We've little else to do but proceed as instructed. I have nothing in mind.
I don't suppose you'll mind if I try to come up with my own plan, will you?
Ah, come on, Elva. Don't you trust me?
As far as I understand, you're just the weird-smelling guy who stands next to Paul and makes dumb observations.
Okay, alright, yeah. But also I got, interest in stuff, and favorite colors. I'm human too, Elva. Maybe I'm afraid to develop deep personal connections, so I rely on superficial nonsense to make friends. See, that's a personality flaw. That's depth. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I'm just kind of making it up.
Now that sounds spot on to me.
Well, we're really just being reductive about my personality. I don't know if I want to help now.
Larry, this is no time to be petty for the sake of pride. I know your skill with beans and the creative genius required to do as you've done. If you have a plan, I trust it was hatched from the same brood as the one which drowned your home city.
That's not really the vote of confidence that you think it is, Paul.
Elva, have you stopped to consider what a logistical nightmare it is to drown a city in beans? The amount of preparation? Few people could possibly do the math, and yet Lowry here did it entirely just from the kindness of his own hearts. It wasn't even profitable to him.
Yeah, I destroyed my city because I cared, and I care about getting us out of the flavor zone. Look, Elva, you're part of the plan. I don't need you to know much, but I need you to know I'm dependent on you, okay?
All right, fine. But if I have to eat any beans, I'm gonna throw a fit.
Ah, you had never tried one of my beans. It's worth breaking your diet for at least once.
Mason turned to the inmate. Excuse me, good sir. I don't suppose you're aware of how we'd reach the castle in yonder sky.
If ye wish to enter the castle, then you should converse with the village elder. He lives in yon big house down there. He points to a slightly larger home. It's pretty much the same as the other candy cottages, with the taffy thatch roofing and everything. But it's parked up against the corner of the cafeteria, and it does look a little bigger.
Thank you, villager. We'll proceed on our own from here. I guess we head down.
You work your way around the staircase and head to the bottom of the courtyard, which is illuminated by artificial floodlighting thanks to the castle blocking the sky. The light reflects sharply off the taffy, making it look plastic.
Knock on the village elder's door.
An old man answers the door. Looks like he's wearing nothing but taffy, made to look like a tunic.
Yes? Hello? What is it now? Why aren't you dressed properly, you idiots? Are you trying to get yourself accused of witchcraft?
I am afraid that as a band of adventurers, we're prone to dressing in all manner of ridiculous insincerity. Just be thankful we all have pants on.
In our case, our individualistic costumes just happen to look like prison uniforms.
Oh, wait, you guys are the adventurers? Our liege told us to wait for adventurers. Yeah, I got a task for you. You see, our kitchen has been plagued by a terrible rat problem. We need you to eliminate the rats. As a reward, I'll give you 10 Lafferty dollars per rat that you kill.
What is this nonsense? We're not seeking Lafferty dollars. We're seeking the man himself.
Well, maybe do us enough good deeds, and then I can recommend you.
Turn to the town. What a pathetic lot you are! Look around! Each of you the pinnacle of what your civilizations have to offer, and now you find yourselves brought low by a candy facade! Are you not feared most above all men in all known universes? Is your ring not the dinner bell of fate? Look around you at this artificial coloring. Where have your spines gone?
One of the villagers in the cafeteria gets up on a table. Hey, that guy's right. I own the highest rated restaurant on my entire planet. Now I'm supposed to sell candy mead for funny money? We should be running this prison. The taffy yanks that guy's legs out from underneath him and pulls him down into the candy.
Is it possible to see where he goes?
If you're watching carefully, it looks like he gets rapidly dragged through the ground, then up the walls towards the castle.
That poor man. At least he died standing up for himself, unlike you, Mr. Village Elder.
Look, there's two ways to get up there. Either do what Lafferty wants, or do the opposite. I honestly can't tell you which way is going to turn out better for you, but as my lord, I know I'm obligated to follow Lafferty's wishes.
Lafferty can't rule a township with no one in it. To some extent, you perpetuate your own slavery.
Hey, Paul, just leave the guy alone. Let's go kill the rats, whatever. But before we do, can we drop by the bathroom? I gotta get something.
I hate to see what kind of condition the bathrooms are in. It's lucky I don't have to poop anymore.
Like, 'cause you already did, or 'cause you never have to? That sounds like a medical condition, Elva.
Nope. I'm just too healthy to poop. I never poop.
Fascinating. Let's make our stop at the bathroom, then entertain these inane wishes.
The elder sneers at you as you leave. The cell blocks are laid out mostly the same, so you find the bathroom without any problems. Looks like it's been dressed up to look like outhouses, but only just barely. Lafferty left all the running water and plumbing alone, and it looks like the taffy doesn't actually go into the stalls.
Here we are. Looks mercifully not like a sticky situation.
That's not a big deal. I actually just needed a toilet seat.
Toilet seat? What the heck for?
The walls have ears, Elvis. Let's go ahead, pry it off.
You work together and get a toilet seat unattached from a toilet.
Raise it above my head. Da-na-na-na. Toilet seat acquired.
What on earth are you doing, Lowry?
Oh, I mean, I'm staying in character. When you get an item in these kinds of fantasy games, you gotta lift it above your head so everyone can see it. I guess so Lafferty can see it in this case. I mean, it's more exciting than just having text say what it is.
You've been here all of 30 minutes and you've already gone as bonkers as Lafferty.
Yeah, you'll see who's crazy soon. Come on, we just gotta get those rats.
With your newly found item of power, the group departs. Towards adventure!
So, we got a toilet seat. I'll admit, Lowry, I'm gonna be amused if your secret plan is to just throw that at Lafferty.
If I was only gonna do that, Paul, I would look for a brick.
Well, the thing is, whatever Lowry's plan is, it has to be better than shooting him with a gun or throwing a grenade at him. Otherwise, it's not as good as what those prison guards were doing.
It's at least twice as good as that plan, Elvis. Actually, I have no idea if it'll work, but in the worst case scenario, we're doing something. And I don't want to be just hanging around in Candyland waiting for everyone else to hatch ideas.
I've still got nothing, personally. I sort of pigeonholed myself by having my secret recipe require 6 guys scattered around the prison.
Your secret recipe had better be worth it, Paul.
I guess it all depends on what you're expecting it to do. But before we get to that point, I'm pretty sure we're supposed to be killing some dire rats in the kitchen.
Indeed you are. Did you have any other stops or questions before you go to the kitchen?
I'm good.
Nope, take us away, Mason.
Where do babies come from?
Shut up, Lowry. Ask your mom.
The answer probably depends on what world and dimension you come from.
Barring any real questions, you guys proceed, toilet seat in hand, towards the kitchen. There, peering through the door window, is the familiar bald head of Bald Spaulding, the man Crouton has been looking for. He looks concerned.
Spaulding.
Huh? Oh, it's Paul.
Also Lowry.
And I'm Elvis. Nice to meet you.
Look, I changed my mind. I don't want to do it anymore.
What? You mean leave this place? What would compel you to stay? And if you're evading that responsibility, why find yourself in Lafferty's den? I'm not sure that you're aware, but the taffy you're standing on is an extension of his will. Once he realizes you're here, he'll snatch you away and your running days will be over.
Nuh-uh. He holds up a chunk of the tasteless white paste. Just try and grab me, and I'll be gone before you know it. Lafferty already tried a bunch of times, but you can't make me do anything. This garbage reminds me of every corner of this awful place, and there's nowhere I can't go.
Hey, Paul, I'm quick enough. I might be able to slap that stuff out of his hand before it gets to his mouth.
It's no use, Elvis. If we apprehend him now, he'll just fall into Lafferty's clutches, then be spirited away to King Crouton.
Hey, Spaulding. We can't force you to do anything, but mind telling us why you don't want to leave?
I want to leave. but I traveled forward through time just to see what would happen if I cooperated with Crouton. You know, just to look at what'll happen around here afterward, and I saw the pizza, Paul. I saw what you're gonna do.
Then your curiosity nearly killed you, Spaulding. If what you say is true, then you're fortunate to be standing before us now. But I don't recall mincing any words about our objective. Our plan was to do away with the Flavor Zone entirely. My specialty will do exactly that. You agreed knowing this at the outset.
It's not the same, just knowing how it sounds. Almost nobody gets out, Paul. I'm not like everybody else here. I don't belong in the Flavor Zone. I just want to travel the multiverse and enjoy good food. I don't want to kill people.
Hey, Spaulding, come on. I didn't exactly get into this line of work to kill people either, you know? I just really love beans. I thought other people would love beans too. I thought the best way to die would probably be to drown in beans. And I would drown myself, but then I wouldn't be around. And see, I got a responsibility to drown other people in beans as an act of kindness. It all makes sense when you think of our side of things, man.
Okay, no. See, that is exactly the kind of logic that I am not connecting with. I don't want to kill people with food. I don't see that as a kindness. Couldn't you have just given them the feeling of drowning in beans through taste? Instead of, actually killing them?
Well, then it's just not authentic.
Yes, no substitutions.
It is really weird to hear you standing up on a moral horse right now while compromising on your morals, Spaulding. Jeez.
How is this compromising on my morals to not want to kill people who like my food?
Can you imagine the disappointment of ordering a death by beans, only to discover it's not really a death by beans, just a pathetic, playful facade of death by beans?
Death by beans is a famous dish where I'm from. You can't alter the ingredients.
It's like trying to do chemistry by swapping chlorine and fluorine. Not only messes everything up, but it's reckless and dangerous. You gotta stick to how things are.
I thought you, of all people, would have had standards when it came to food, Spaulding.
In some ways, shouldn't we be... I don't know. I can't talk to you people. Crouton wouldn't have taken no for an answer either. But maybe some of you guys belong here. Maybe you need the Flavor Zone. I'm gonna leave, but I'm not gonna take any of you with me.
Oh, come on, man. Don't be like
Hold
that.
a moment, Lowry. Well, go on, Spaulding. If you intend to leave without us, then do so. Why are you still here?
Well, Because
you lack the ingredients for your escape. Because there is no substitute for precisely what you want. And what if, Spaulding, one of the ingredients you needed was a human heart? Faced with this conundrum, would you choose to stay among the likes of us?
Look, I don't know. But what you're gonna do, Paul, that's a choice. You could leave without making that pizza.
Look around you, Spaulding. If I fail, others will succeed regardless. If we are men terrible enough to deserve the Flavor Zone, then my Gaia pizza will be the execution equally deserved by the people here. In fact, it may be a mercy. Imagine spending years toiling away in Lafferty's taffy kingdom, being forced to place on a smile, selling exotic children's toys dressed as weapons to anyone foolish enough to stumble by. Is this life under tyrannical rule of other madmen? Is it really all the more merciful than putting a righteous end to it?
Spaulding, if I have to hang around this place for more than a few hours, I would rather just drown myself in beans.
But weren't you just saying that you would really like to drown in beans, and that is a life goal?
Yeah, that's an appealing alternative to whatever's going on that's always on the table for me.
What Lowry is trying to say is that he would finally give up on everything if it meant not serving some of the more powerful inmates of the Flavor Zone. The manner in which he seeks rest is irrelevant compared to the permanent abdication of his divine purpose.
Well, that's you. But some of the others here are choosing to live, and they're at least living under Lafferty.
You delude yourself.
Look, it doesn't matter if he helps us or not. If he can't get us out of the Flavor Zone, then the objective changes. We take the place over and we make it our own. That's just as good. With the run of the place and enough sparks of genius, we're gonna find our own way out. And when we do, we're gonna find your home dimension, Spaulding. And then you'll have plenty of food to try across your whole universe.
Elva, let's not resort to the barbarism of threats. The fact is, however, at some point, Spaulding, a natural order will emerge, and the denizens of the Flavor Zone will turn their efforts towards escape. Regardless of who controls the helm, there will doubtlessly be some who regard yours as the grandest betrayal, and they will come seeking. To cooperate with me eliminates all doubt. What will come will come. I haven't the faintest idea how your time-traveling abilities work, but I'm sure that if you use them to see the outcome, where you circumvent my will, there is not necessarily a better result in the grand scheme.
You don't know that? Maybe Inferno regains control and puts you guys back in your place.
And then captures you as well, as the jailbreaker, yes. But on the other hand, we're standing in a literal field of taffy. This alone is enough to produce a variety of powerful recipes, even with the bland supplies we're normally given. Your only safe path to escape is to put an end to Inferno himself, and then cover your tracks.
You... He shovels some food into his mouth and then blinks away.
Think about it.
I hope he comes back. I'd rather escape sooner than later.
What do you suppose he was doing here?
Either collecting taffy or looking for something in the kitchen. Even with time travel at his fingertips, collecting ingredients in the flavor zone is a risky endeavor. Acknowledging that, I believe we have some kitchen rats to take care of.
You open the door, and inside are several rats about the length of your forearm crawling around. They're all made of taffy and acting like ordinary living creatures.
Well, that answers our question of whether Lafferty can make taffy life.
This is going to be such a chore. And it's irrelevant. Lafferty is intentionally wasting our time in service of Crouton.
One of the rats spots you. It makes a squealing sound, and they all stop what they're doing. They begin leaping onto one another, fusing into a monstrous rat centipede. It sprouts wings and then shrieks at you.
Close the door. Right, let's say we use one of the grenades.
Pass Paul the grenade.
Crack open the door and toss it in.
Pow! The grenade goes off. When the mustard clears, the taffy in the room looks all drippy and has lost its structural cohesion. The center rat now looks like a melting snowman, folded over. The top half of it falls to the floor with a splat.
How much experience do you think we got for that?
It's clearly just a matter of the clock ticking. We can't play these games. We must find a way to Lafferty and free my line chefs.
You suppose they got any loot in them? Like, I don't know, taffy dollars or something?
I do have to wonder. My entire life's work has revolved around the ingredients in a human body. But if you can make taffy life, what makes it healthy? And do you think it's more healthy than an ordinary human?
Something for a future hypothesis. For now, let's return with news of our triumph and see if we can't leverage the so-called village elder into doing our bidding.
You head back to the cafeteria square and knock on the elder's taffy door. He answers. Oh, it's you again. Great. Your next quest is to kill some wild boars and bring me back 5 boar tusks.
You don't require proof that we killed the rats.
Well, did you not kill the rats?
About that, it seems you're tasking us with busy work and the promise that we'll eventually advance to our goals. But in practical terms, it seems your motive is to do away with the various problems in the land. Is it not?
Sure. Yeah, I guess. You could say that's my motive, yeah.
Well, then it stands to reason, whatever wild rats or hobgoblins you can find for us to torment, it would be your greater interest to strike at the source and put this all to rest at once, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
Don't break character. Lafferty is always watching. Your motive is to end the suffering of your people, is it not?
My motive is to give you this list of errands to do.
Oh, really? And why?
Because the Goodnight Lafferty demands order in his kingdom. You gotta kill these boars because they're like, I don't know, riding skateboards on our sidewalks or something, and there's an ordinance.
Shoot, I kinda wanna see these boars now.
But are they not, noble elder, all simply the taffy creations of your Goodnight Lafferty? And by that logic, would he not be able to provide the greatest clarity as to why these threats are plaguing your people and what should be done about them?
Yeah, he made the list. That's what he's doing about it.
Well, I'm suggesting that you forego the list and let us talk to Lafferty directly.
I can't until you complete the list. Now, go fight these radical skateboarding pigs, or I'm not going to tell you the next thing on the list.
Or, I put my hand on his shoulder, what if it seemed that the one standing between us and the benefit of the realm were the village elder? Would it not then be the obligation of a magnanimous adventurer to do away with this corrupted elder?
I crack my knuckles. I also look like a frail old lady right now.
And, if we were mistaken, is the list not simply available to us? We owe it to your townsfolk to solve these issues as directly as possible, to the furthest extent of our abilities. If we believe you are corrupt, then we must strike at the root. I gently chop at his neck with my hands. Unless, of course, you might concede that the roots are found ironically above us, in Lafferty's castle.
So what? The deal is either you kill me or Lafferty kills me?
Actually, I believe not. Lafferty seems rather proud of what he's put together here, and as long as there is no conflict with your motive, I don't suspect you're placing yourself in any danger by cooperating with us. The curtains remain closed, as it were, and there is no criminal hint of the man pulling the strings. Retribution can't be laid on a village elder for acting as any logical soul would do in his position.
Right. Fine. It's not like I like getting pushed around anyway. If it's not him, it's you, and I hope you all kill each other. He fishes a small taffy whistle out of his taffy tunic pocket, steps outside, then blows into it. There's a moment of silence, then you hear gongs striking from up above. Bong, bong, bong. The castle gates above you open, and a large set of taffy stairs begin to unfold one step at a time rapidly down towards you. The steps slow down just before coming to completion a few inches from your feet. There's candy torches on either side of the stairs, and they sprout red taffy that looks sort of convincingly like fire.
Well, we're walking out of the pan and into the fire on this one. Are you sure we ought to just waltz up there and hope it shakes out for us? In my dimension, a brilliant general named Jerry Seinfeld used to say a defeated general goes to war and expects to win. I'm thinking Seinfeld knew what he was talking about.
Really? In my dimension, Jerry Seinfeld is a famous therapist who heals people by shouting at them. He's especially mean to fat people.
Well, in mine, he married the Prince of England, then died in a fatal car accident. But your words of caution are not hollow, Elvis. Lowry's the one with the plan. What do you say, Lowry? Is this our best course of action?
We're walking into the taffy den, and clearly he's got all the cards in the deck stacked against us, and we don't even know what game he's playing. But that's why I brought my own game, with its own obscure rules that I bet Lafferty has never even heard of. He's going to be playing Pinochle, and I'm going to be playing Duel Monsters.
Okay. But that's not really winning, that's playing two separate games independently of each other.
Well, I'm also going to flip the table over and call him stupid. I don't know. I had 30 seconds to think up the metaphor. The point is, we don't know what Lafferty has in store for us, but there's no way he can anticipate what I'm about to do. So we're as good as we're going to get.
Lowry, you are vaguely undermining my confidence in you, but I have enough confidence in myself to make up for the both of us, so I'm certain that we'll be fine. Let us confront Lafferty.
You guys march up the taffy stairs. They're not exactly up to code. It doesn't seem that Lafferty has exact precision with his powers, so the stairs are kinda uneven, and you're making sort of long movements to get up them. But that might also be necessary because the castle is situated at such a high up position. When you finally arrive at the main doors, they swing open, revealing a courtroom. The inside is lined with more taffy torches, and the actual lighting is provided by ambient sunlight. It causes the place to look a bit dim and eerie, with a number of shadowed corners. There's large suits of armor on the walls, armed with colorful, shiny weapons. The main throne is turned around, facing the wrong direction, away from you. There's a stained glass window above the throne, showing Lafferty being carried by an angel. The angel looks like King Crouton.
Good heavens.
Lafferty, if you dramatically turn around in that throne and you say something cool, the cliched nature of the moment's just gonna undercut everything. No one's gonna take you seriously.
The throne swivels around, and there's no one in it. Then, Lafferty emerges from the stained glass window, being carried by a taffy version of King Crouton as an angel. It looks like he's being held up by strands of taffy, so he's not actually flying. The angel lowers Lafferty down onto the throne, then flies back up into the window, which no longer shows Lafferty in it. Oh, my dear adventurers, this is my kingdom. And in my kingdom, I can make whatever entrance suits my imagination. And for your information, I could also enforce any kind of exit my little mind could come up with. That said, Paul, you must think you're pretty clever.
Well, a past history such as mine could lead one to develop an ego.
Well, you should be careful with that ego. You didn't even see my bugbears. They were going to be giant, ferocious honey bears with bear heads.
Well, one thing I haven't seen, Lafferty, is my line chefs. You expect me to carry on in this charade on your word alone? You've only barely presented the most meager of incentives.
Don't you trust me? I've been totally honest up until this point. Fine. Whatever, here they are. He waves his hand and your two line chefs descend from the ceiling, wrapped tight in a cocoon of taffy.
Mushroom. Olive.
Olive! See, Paul, now there's a good nickname for a female line chef.
Well, that name is already taken. Gentlemen, stay patient. We're going to work this out.
Oh, we absolutely are not. You cheated to get up here, Paul. I made it clear you had to complete my challenges, but you jumped the gun and you decided to fight the big boss early.
That's absurd. You presented me with a scenario wherein I am to help your townspeople and in exchange receive an audience with you. It's clear that you create these woes that plague them, so it stands to reason that cutting to the heart of the matter is the only pragmatic choice.
No, you're using out-of-character information. You were supposed to assume that the taffy animals were just naturally living, breathing parts of this ecosystem. But look at you. You didn't even try to play along. You stole a toilet seat from the latrines and now you're just walking around with it. What sort of sane person would do that?
Well, I do got a reason.
The reason is you're nothing but murder hobos.
Now that is not true. We got prison cells we stay in, and before that I slept in my restaurant. And before that I lived in a multi-generational apartment with my brothers and sisters. Lafferty, I do come from somewhere. It's not anywhere too amazing, and nowhere too proud, but it is a resourceful place. See, Lafferty, I didn't grow up having a lot. When I was a kid, I don't know about you, but I didn't live in a castle. I went hungry a lot of nights, and I think that's why I got so interested in food. I can appreciate all this taffy and everything, 'cause it's food that stretches. Yeah, my family, we'd make every kind of food stretch out as long as we could. That one leftover slice of pizza, you gotta make that last all week, right? That one egg goes into everything you make for days. I got really interested in that. How long can you make a little bit of food last if you really push it to the limit? I hold up a single bean, prepared in my signature sauce. How long can you stretch a meal composed of just a single bean? I'll tell you, Lafferty, it's bottomless. I close my fist around that one bean, and when I open them again, beans erupt from my fingertips and into Lafferty.
Ah! A surprising fire hose torrent of beans tears loose from Lowry, shoving a startled Lafferty through his taffy chair and into the soft taffy brick wall behind him. When the torrent of beans subsides, Lafferty is on his knees. The taffy construction directly where the beans have landed are sagging as they give way to what appears to be self-proliferating legumes.
My word, you've had your endless bean dish up your sleeve this entire time.
It's only ever been the one bean, over and over again. My only bottomless bean.
Lafferty gets to his feet. Enough! You think some barbecue beans are enough to overcome my entire kingdom?
Alright guys, so you know how I said your roles in my plan were simple? Paul, your job is to not get killed.
It's genius.
Elva, I need you to beef up and punch this guy as hard as you can.
Crack-a-molar. I guess with the one-step plan, there's only one way it can go wrong.
A mission statement to punch me is not a plan. There's plenty of ways that this can go wrong. The Taffy Knights all lurch to life.
Ignore them. Run past them and sock Lafferty right in the face at top speed.
Oh, then I'll just deal with these Taffy Knights by myself, shall I?
You rush up and clobber Lafferty in the face, causing his rubbery taffy head to bounce off the wall behind him. He reverberates and clasps his ears to stop his noggin from shaking like jello. Elvis, you're going to take half that damage to your hand as well.
Oh, that's smart. Man, are you still awake, Lafferty? You're tougher than you look.
Madam, how can you be sure you're even punching the real Lafferty? Lowry, you're up.
Hop on the toilet seat, surf on it on a wave of beans so I've got a high vantage over everyone, then bury Lafferty.
Up you go, riding a toilet seat on a wave of beans. And then down they come, flying over Elvis's head and on top of your enemy. He's completely buried. Paul!
I guess I try to create as much distance between myself and these Taffy Knights as I can, then try to dodge their attacks.
The knights march forward, clank, 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 surrounding Paul. Two of the nearest ones approach you from either side. The first knight swings high and you duck underneath it, but the second swings low and gets you. Luckily, instead of being a chopping implement, the taffy just explodes into you, surrounding your body and trapping you.
Ugh. Oh, well, I guess I'll count my blessings.
Elvis, you're up again.
Wait for Lafferty to try to pop out of these beans, and when he does, give his bell another ring.
Alrighty, you're waiting for a target. Lowry.
Sweep back and hit those knights that are bothering Paul.
You fled the area around Paul with beans. These knights are like twice the size of a man, so you only get up to their thighs, but all the same, it doesn't seem like the taffy is doing well with being turned into beans. The nearest knight sloppily fall over into the beans. Paul, the taffy holding you softens. But that's when the ceiling opens up and Lafferty drops down right on top of Lowry. He grabs you as he falls, and then he wraps around you in kind of a loopy stranglehold.
What? What are you doing over there? Come down here and take your medicine, Lafferty.
Paul.
Fight my way out of the taffy, and then try to stay safely in the beans.
Elvis.
Lowry, bring him on down here. Granny's looking forward to a visit.
Lowry.
Come on down to Elvis's level.
Elvis, Lowry drops down to punching range, and you lob a devastating left hook into Lafferty, detaching him from Lowry, but also knocking Lowry to the floor. You felt the satisfying crack on the ribs on that one. Oh, Elva, you have a dangerously mean hook for an old woman.
I'm a businesswoman, Lafferty, and you need a good hook to sell your business.
All right, but how's this for a hook? I've still got Paul's line chefs. And look up there! I've added one more to the collection. You guys look, and up on the ceiling you see Pepperoni is now also tied up with the others.
Oh, for goodness sake, I lost track of him in the moment.
Well, you're about to lose track of them for good. Stand down or I'll be forced to strangle the life out of them.
Lafferty, you do that and Crouton will never be able to use me, even if he chooses to.
Unlucky for you. Crouton has already been talking about taking over the flavor zone. Mr. Paul, I'm not sure that Caesar even really cares about your silly pizza. Now, I'm doing my best to leave his options on the table, but my great king is gonna understand if I had to take necessary remedial steps.
Kill them and I'll dissolve you alive and screaming in a bucket of cleaning ammonia.
Do as I say, and I won't kill them. That was always the deal, Paul. We could have fun playing a lovely game together. I don't even dislike you. I think you're charming. We'll just put all this behind us.
Elva, you think you can jump up there and catch those guys if I knock them loose?
I can promise to try.
All right, get ready. Mason, I launch a bean beam at the taffy holding Paul's lion chefs.
The beans collide with the taffy, eroding it. The lion chefs break loose and begin to fall.
Try to leap up there so I grab him on the way down, then try to parkour off the wall to slow our fall.
Sure, give me acrobatics on that.
Elderly woman, master of a healthy body.
Okay. Elva, you leap in the air and sweep up under the lion chefs, kick off the wall as you reach it, then tumble to the ground. It's rough for everybody, and you all roll away from one another in the fall, but you don't think anyone broke their necks.
Run up and kick Lafferty.
He recoils as you kick him in the face, but then bounces back and wraps himself in a spiral around your leg. Paul, you fall down as Lafferty slithers up your torso.
Oh, you are disgusting.
Mason, I run up and try to clamp my hand down over Lafferty's nose.
He struggles with you and tries to throw you off, but you get your hand firmly over his face.
When he opens up his mouth to breathe, launch a fire hose of beans right down his throat.
Well, he thrashes and he fights, and finally he gasps. And that's when thousands of high-pressure beans get launched into the man's open orifice. Because he's made of soft candy in a lot of places, it's actually rather gruesome. His body expands and then bursts with beans in the weakest spots. But because you're launching this stuff down his windpipe, he can't even scream. A terrible fate for an insane candy man. The taffy torches stop flickering, and slowly, the taffy knights come to a stop and begin folding over under their own weight. There's silence for a few seconds, and then you feel the castle itself begin to droop with all of you still inside it. Lafferty is dead, but it seems he may yet get the last laugh, as his taffy castle seems to have been held together by sheer willpower somehow. The castle begins to sag and droop, and you can feel it's going to give way at any moment.
Curse that Lafferty. To directly connect oneself to their food of specialty is madness even few here would entertain.
Elvis, about how many people do you think you can carry?
I give it a few £100, Lowry.
All I need is for everyone to form a ring around me. Elvis, hold on to me. Everyone else, hold on to Elva. We're gonna surf this out.
Run up and hug Elva.
Your line chefs follow your lead, Paul. Just barely after you get together, the taffy castle starts to separate, falling whole, stringy globs at a time. Lowry creates a surf wave of beans, but even trying to ride down at an angle, he's overloaded with too much weight. It's gonna be rough. Everyone take a breakfall roll.
Oh, actually, I have this. I imagine having the toilet seat knocked out from underneath me.
World's most acrobatic old lady over here.
And I guess I'm just lucky.
You may be, but your line chefs aren't. They all take tumbles after you guys land, getting bumped up pretty bad. The guy who has it worst is Olive, who breaks his shin. He only realizes it when he starts to stand up. Oh, my leg.
How bad is it, Mason? Like a compound fracture?
It doesn't look that bad, Paul.
Stand back, stand back. For all my time spent examining the human body, you could say I know a thing or two about how it ticks. Paramedic roll.
You have a look, and you can see it's already starting to swell. All you can do is split the injury and try to keep him off it. The inmates down here seem to have gotten buried alive under chunks of the castle, but a few are pulling themselves out of the collapsing taffy houses that didn't get hit. However, there's some cafeteria tables and chairs nearby, and with your enhanced strength, you can pry the table leg loose and make use of it. A nearby dead inmate probably won't mind if you rip his shirt to make the bindings.
There you go, Olive. Olive's a girl's name, by the way.
No, it isn't. I'm Black Olive. You know, like super rad, and I guess maybe a little evil. Sort of the Team Rockstar.
It's true. Olive once ate raw pizza dough. We were all flabbergasted.
Yeah, thanks for helping me out, though.
We have fun in my kitchen. It's a true den of immortal hijinks. Another time, Olive set the clock forward 1 hour, so we all momentarily believed we'd been working an hour longer than we had. Oh, how we panicked. It seemed we'd gotten so little done within an hour's span. Were our talents slipping? No, it was merely a prank.
Yeah, that is funny. I mean, the fact that I don't normally imagine olives as being a prankster vegetable, I mean, that's what's funny about it.
Oh no, olives are very mischievous. Also, an olive is a fruit, not a vegetable, though some definitions would describe them as both a vegetable and a fruit simultaneously. You see how chicanerous they can be.
Ah, that is funny. Oh man, did you know that beans are the same way? They're technically legumes, which is a seed, but they're also a fruit and a vegetable. See, beans are my specialty. The name's Lowry, by the way.
Well, you must be a bit of a prankster yourself. He shakes your hand. Mushroom shakes your hand too. Pepperoni kind of pats himself down and looks around. Oh no, I've lost the gun.
Not to worry, Pepperoni. If memory serves, the last remaining major threats to our goals would be Mac and Crouton himself. The gun is useless on Mac, and I doubt that Crouton would expose himself directly. With Lowry now openly wielding his beans and Elva's fantastical physical abilities, I hope that we'll have enough resources to reunite with our missing compatriots. We should find them at Cell Block H.
Mac was that guy on a rampage earlier, wasn't he? He seems like a brute. We just gotta rush him down before he can hit us.
Elva, there's a reason why Mac was released first when the prison break began. It would take a coordinated strike force of Inferno's best men to bring him down alone. He's the most feared inmate in this prison as far as size and strength are concerned. If we go face-to-face with him, I'm not sure that your physical abilities could match up, nor could a deluge of beans slow him down. If we see him, I must ask that we first try diplomacy. Our best odds at defeating Mac are to not come to blows with him in the first place.
Every conflict is better won by not fighting it, but what if we have to fight him?
I know. I'll just use my beans to outmaneuver him. Once I'm up above him, he can't do jack.
You forget that Mac is a trained hibachi chef. He can throw an object precisely enough to land in your mouth from surprising distances, and with his power even something as modest as a golf ball is liable to knock your teeth out. You cannot outmuscle him, and it's unlikely you'll outmaneuver him, at least not with our resources. To defeat Mac in pitched combat, we'd have to conceive of a trap, and even then it has to be something he won't merrily climb his way out from. I believe our two options are to negotiate ourselves into a favorable position, or allow ourselves to be thrown in the briar patch, as it were. Accept defeat, but plan the defeat such that we gain from it.
So, you're saying our backup plan, if we can't talk Mac into letting us go, is to give up and marry him, because apparently you love him so much.
Elva, your snide sarcasm isn't helping me gain a good bearing on the situation.
You don't know I wouldn't give him a good licking. I'll lick his shark butt, you'll see.
Is that gonna be before or after we get married to him?
I think I have the answer. It's a matter of leverage. Give me a long enough rod and I shall move the world. Currently, Crouton is offering Mac an escape from the Flavor Zone, but if we can once again find Spaulding and convince him to join us exclusively, Mac's only way out will be to switch sides. As simply as that, we'll have defeated Crouton's greatest asset by making him our own.
Yeah, except the one problem where we don't even know how to find Spaulding to let us out of here.
Such as the fly in the ointment, yes. Unfortunately, Crouton's goals are the same as ours. Find Spaulding and detain my men. Because if I find my line chefs, all the Flavor Zone faces the threat of total annihilation. There would also be a valid negotiating tool. But Crouton can't know where Spaulding is either. He does know where my line chefs are. He has but one reliable lieutenant remaining. So if Crouton has any wits at all, he's already detained my remaining 3 line chefs and should be holding them close to himself while Mac continues the hunt for Spaulding.
Wait, what, are we not going to Cell Block H?
As I think of it, I'm sure that my line chefs won't be there. If it were me, I'd have them detained already, and in their place I'd set up an ambush. Lafferty and Pimienta both played adequate delay tactics, and Crouton will be out of soft measures by now. His final stroke will be to murder us, thereby eliminating me as a threat. After all, Lafferty did say that Crouton was thinking of ruling the Flavor Zone. What should he need me for? What with my ability to destroy it all at once?
Well, if that's the case, why is Crouton leaving your men alive at all? I mean, he ought to have killed your dudes and be done with it.
You're probably right. I can't make my pizza without all of my line chefs. The smartest move towards keeping this place together would be to destroy my men so that I can't destroy the Flavor Zone.
Well, there we go. Your men are confirmed dead, through conjecture. I guess now we can give up and start a knitting circle.
Why do you have to be so sardonic, Elva?
No, I'm glad we had this conversation.
Well, in the event my men are already dead, what's your next step?
Take over, rule the place, perfect my granola recipe, break out of here, start a utopian granola-based society. Pretty much the same as my plans have always been, excluding the prison stuff. My granola is going to keep me alive forever. Everything's just a matter of the long game for me.
That's what we call the ending. The next steps, regardless, mean seizing control of the prison away from Crouton while his power is still in its nascency. It's possible, perhaps even wise, that Crouton kill my men outright. Given time, he may come to the conclusion and do so. But here we have Pepperoni, Mushroom, and Olive, all held captive by Crouton's lieutenant. Evidently, he hasn't yet committed to ruling the Flavor Zone, but I propose we now double back and strike at Crouton.
Well, sure, if you want. I mean, that's easier than taking down the big guy.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was really nervous about fighting Mac, so I'm all for that.
Crushing Crouton is the set goal, then. Our next step is to survey Crouton's operations. For all we know, both my men and Mac are waiting at the seat of Crouton's power, but we'll see what luck is granted us and react accordingly.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Well, let's do it then. I feel like that Crouton boy deserves a good butt whooping anyway.
Having resolved your choice, you guys double back and return towards your original cell block. Things are starting to simmer down now. It's getting to be close to dinner time, and the inmates are starting to realize that nobody's been cooking non-weaponized food. You can see a few arguments breaking out about supplies, access to medicine, and that type of thing. It's a bit slower going since Olive has a leg injury, but it's not long before you cross the bridges and find yourself at the doors of your old block.
Now I'm certain that Crouton's goons are on the lookout for us. Pepperoni, you're from a different cell block. I think the majority of people in there won't recognize you, so I'd like for you to quickly poke your head in, get a look at the demeanor of the place, then report back as swiftly as possible.
Yes, sir. Pepperoni salutes, then heads through the doors. About 10 minutes later, he comes back. It looks like Crouton is attempting to get organized. He's gathered up weapons and is offering food to anyone willing to show loyalty, but I guess he hasn't flexed his muscles yet because he's still trying to convince everyone. He's got men doing some speeches in the cafeteria, but it seems like general propaganda. In the short time I was there, it's all I've learned.
Hey Mason, do I know what cell that bunny woman stayed in?
You've probably seen her around, but it's tough to recall. Give me a roll. You're pretty sure she's like third from the top, south side.
Pepperoni, there's a girl with the bunk third row down, south side. She's a bunny woman, looks about in her 30s. I got an idea, but I need her cooperation. She works for Crouton, but he tried to sell her off, so I doubt she likes him all too much. Tell us someone wants to talk to her about a plan to get out of the Flavor Zone.
What do I do if she says no?
Well, then come back here and tell us that before Crouton's guys come looking. If you don't come back in like 15 minutes, we gotta relocate.
Are you on board with this, sir?
Yes, Pepperoni. I believe I follow where Lowry's coming from. I think there's going to be some mistrust, but if we can secure someone already on the inside of Crouton's operations, I imagine we can strike from a point of vulnerability.
Then I'll do my best. Pepperoni heads through the doors. Another 10 minutes later, he comes back. Well, she's agreed to come, but there were indeed some issues of trust. The bunny girl steps through the doors, followed by 4 other bunny people. One's a portly older woman with a fish knife. One's a tall, muscular guy with some shredded clothing draped over one eye. One's an unusually thin-looking girl with a manic look to her eyes, and the last one is a serious-looking guy with a pencil mustache who's carrying a ketchup rifle.
Ah, you brought some friends, that's good.
Yeah, she says. When I complained I didn't know every bunny person in the prison, I lied. I was just mad. These are my line chefs. Your guy here says that you have a way out. For your sake, you better be telling the truth, or I'm going to melt your head clean off your shoulders.
As a point of clarity, we're the only ones who can leave this place and put Guy Inferno in the Flavor Zone behind us entirely. Originally, it would have been done with Crouton's resources, but as you've likely seen, he's altered the plan due to losing Spaulding.
The plan hasn't changed. If he gets a hold of you and your boys, he says that all that's left to do is round up Spaulding.
Is that so? And after wantonly burning his bridge with me, what remaining leverage does he have over myself or any of my line chefs? Why would I cooperate with him? Destroying the Flavor Zone on our way out lies solely in my own hands.
Hey, Paul, the thing is, the original plan we all signed on for, it still takes a coalition. Paul needs his boys, we need to get Spaulding, and the more people on board to bring down Inferno, the better. The longer we wait screwing around with politics and delusions about ruling this place, the longer Inferno has to plan a counterattack. We gotta bite this in the butt, like today.
And then what? I become your bunny wife?
I never marry a lady against her will. Sharing a bed gives a person a lot of opportunities to make a guy regret a little power play like that, and I pursued the art of beans in the chase of happiness, not for power. I'm not about to lay down with misery just to say that I could. Look, I thought you might be interested because we need you, which means that you have leverage to negotiate and carve out a deal for yourself. See? And you won't be just someone on the sidelines getting pitched as a trophy to some other punk.
The bunny woman glances at the others, who do their best not to betray too much, but none of them give away any bad looks. I want a direct line to Spaulding. I want to go where I want, when I want.
That sounds fair to me. That's what I want.
But also unfortunately outside of our control. Spaulding has proven himself to be an elusive man and also one plagued with high-minded morals. He likely can't be kept as a captive pet, but what we can promise you is a seat at the table when we negotiate with him. You can posit your request directly at that time and see what you can wring out.
She rolls her eyes. Fine. What are you expecting out of us?
Take us directly to Crouton. Then, help us take his head.
If you kill Crouton, his lieutenants are going to come after you. Pimienta, Lafferty, Mac.
Dead, and still at large, but I suspect liable to come over to our way of thinking once he sees who's holding the cards. Mac isn't stupid by any stretch of the imagination, but he's also not fond of politics. We can simply represent to him the promise of the original plan seeing fruition. Almost anyone here would give anything for an escape from this wretched place.
You're bluffing. None of those guys are dead. Everyone would be talking about it.
It only happened recently. We were there. And why would Crouton make that public as he petitions the Flavor Zone to recognize him as their new leader? Would that display of weakness serve his goals?
Prove it.
The proof should be simple logic. If we were lying and invited the wrath of all 3 lieutenants at once, then our efforts would be for nothing, and your caution would be warranted. We aren't suicidal. This isn't a vendetta, this is business. We want to leave the Flavor Zone, and Crouton stands between us and that goal. But your lack of faith does lead to one major point of concern. We have no reason not to suspect the double cross of one another. So, I believe we'll need to submit an exchange of collateral.
She raises an eyebrow.
Lowry, Elva, and myself have enough resources to make swift work of Crouton. Sounds as though you do as well. Thus, I can place one of my line chefs in your custody. You may take Olive. He's wounded and will pose no threat for the moment, unless you're allergic to hilarious practical jokes. Nominate one of your own to stay with my line chefs, and we can say that we've established some insurance against a double cross.
She smiles. Are you worried I'm going to hand you over to Crouton on a silver platter?
If it's crossed my mind, I know it's crossed yours. With this arrangement, we'll have reduced that likelihood.
All right, fine. Pepper, stay with them. Butcher, you keep an eye on whichever one of them is named Olive. The wiry-looking girl walks over to your lion chefs with arms outstretched as though she's expecting a hug. The rabbit lady with the fish knife goes over and collects Olive, supporting him with their shoulders. All right, come on now, love. Let's get you someplace nice and secluded where nobody's going to hear if you scream. Olive says, Is that a threat or a promise? She says, Could be a little of both if it all works out.
Very well. The rest of us shall proceed directly to Crouton in the appearance of your custody, and as soon as we're placed before him, we'll put an end to this.
Now?
The sooner, the more ideal.
All right, get in front of me. She surrounds you with her goons, then walks you into the cell block. She leads you down the stairs towards the ground floor. Your blockmates see you like this, and there's a lot of whispering. Small crowds gather and try and see what's going on. The rabbit woman says, Your notoriety really went up after your last run-in with Crouton. People weren't sure if he'd catch you. It'd be really good for him if he did.
Hey, by the way, we didn't get your name.
It's Matilda von Carotene. It's kind of a stage name. I like to call my gang the Carotene Kids.
Ah, man, that's good. See, we should have come up with a gang name. Our themes are all over the place. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, how about for now we just call ourselves the Shut Up and Walk Gang? Come on.
Matilda takes you guys down to the kitchen, which is being covered by armed guards. She motions for them to stand aside. You recognize this guy, right? She points at Paul. He's a gift for Caesar. Move. The guards part ways and she takes you in. It looks like all the stoves are in use, and from the smell, Crouton is cooking with ingredients he's not supposed to have. He's leaning over one of the chefs, muttering something to him. Then he looks up and sees you guys. Oh, my word! This is stupendous! Look, everyone, it's Paul! Oh, well, I was beginning to think that you would never stop running.
The only place we ran is knees first into your thugs. I tell you to ask him about it, but Pimienta's cooking in hell now.
Most of the guys in the kitchen keep working, but a few of them gather around Crouton. And you're proud of that, are you? Do you have any idea the amount of mental anguish you've caused me? And you, he says, motioning towards Matilda. Apparently I've been overlooking a lot of talent. What's your name? You're going to be my right-hand bunny from now on.
Hey, did we establish some kind of signal?
And at that, Crouton's guys pull out knives. And to everyone's shock, one of them stabs Crouton in the back. Then the next guy does, and so does another, then another. Oh! Oh! Crouton wheels around, having fallen to his knees in a bloody mess. He clutches the apron of the guy that was directly behind him. At two, Marcus! The one named Marcus plunges his knife into Crouton's neck. Crouton falls away, choking and thrashing for a few more seconds before finally going limp.
Well, we were going to do that.
The one named Marcus says, "Better to have it done by those closest to him. His plans are falling apart and we can't rule this place. All the food in the flavor zone is imported, and now that Lafferty is dead, we don't know of anyone who can produce edible stuff that we can use. Even then, that was just candy. We're turning the food we do have into weaponry, but we'll starve within weeks. There's not enough. Crouton kept saying we'd unite everyone, but it's going to be a war, and we need to start thinking that way or we're all going to die."
I see. Well, Marcus, as it was, the simpler answer is to escape as planned before the inevitable occurs. We need everyone in prison united to look for Spaulding.
Oh, now, hold on. I didn't say you'd be in charge, Paul. Just because Caesar is dead doesn't mean his enemies have won.
But doesn't it, though? Lowry, show him a food source.
I drop a few beans into the palm of my hand. Endless beans. We got more than a few weeks of food here.
Yeah? And what about water?
I don't do water, only beans.
Well, guess what? All the water comes from a series of water towers sitting on top of the cell blocks. The water's imported too, so unless you know someone who can make endless water, we're still out of luck.
Then I don't see how the plan isn't to escape. It sounds all the more imperative.
I didn't say it wasn't. I'm saying I'm in charge now, and I don't need your input.
Oh, come on now.
Matilda says, "I don't recall agreeing to that. I think maybe I'd like to be in charge."
Yeah, me too. Everybody listens to Elva now.
Elva! Everyone. We can call this a confederation of minds and direct our attention to our more pressing needs. We are aligned in the belief that we must leave the flavor zone. We shouldn't waste time in conflict while the threat of Inferno's retaliation looms over us. Now, we all know that too many chefs in the kitchen will spoil a dish, so I nominate myself, Matilda, and Marcus here as a triumvirate of sous chefs to guide us through this mess. I feel that, barring any further megalomania, we are not at odds.
"And how do I know I can trust you, Paul?" Marcus demands.
Matilda and myself have already exchanged collateral. You, Marcus, are being offered a deal. Take the seat at the table as an equal, or fight us to the death here and now.
"You and Matilda both?" Matilda looks at him in silence.
Two well-equipped gangs having come to fight versus your own. And as for your own, how many of your members had second thoughts about killing Crouton? Has everyone really rallied behind you, Marcus?
Marcus looks at one or two specific guys on his side, who avoid eye contact. "All right, fine. But we don't even know where to find Spaulding." Then the cupboard opens, and none other than Spaulding himself stumbles out. "I think I can help with that."
Well, everything is just literally falling into place.
"I tried to figure out the future, like you asked, and there's really no way out except for through Inferno." Marcus goes, "Have you just been in my cupboard this entire time?" "What? No, I teleported here. Look, the point is, nobody's going to be able to rule over this place except Inferno. If I don't get us out, Inferno takes over and then really locks this place down. Me included. And look, the ingredients to get us out here? It's all in this room."
So what you're saying is you finally realize there's nothing you or anyone can do to make the flavor zone a good place.
I don't like the idea of what Paul's going to do. But if he leaves without using the pizza, everyone's just going to starve to death. And I don't understand why you have to make it so gruesome, but it's not going to be pretty no matter what.
Spaulding, that's because you don't understand the beauty of my specialty. What you're seeing is the seed of a new world. The Gaia Pizza isn't a weapon. It's a rebirth. The flavor zone was bereft of all things when Inferno found it. But by building this prison here, Inferno has introduced animals, water, and materials that he never intended for. My Gaia Pizza will combine all of these things together, wiping them clean, then giving birth to a new world where life can flourish from them. It will be small, but much less sinister than this place is now.
I don't know about all that, but I'll help you get out, and I'll help you fight Inferno. It's as little as I can do to get away from this place forever, and it's the only thing I'm gonna do.
Well, it's as much as we can ask, I suppose. One normally plans for everything to go wrong, so I'm rather flummoxed to see it all going so smoothly all at once.
Yeah, well, a limited amount of time travel can do that for you. The timeline changes a lot, and I always have to go back, but at least I know where I need to go as long as it's still around here somewhere.
So does anyone actually want to fight, or do we have this figured out?
Everybody stands around looking at each other. Nobody volunteers to kill anyone.
Well, shoot, this was my big chance to be the prison celebrity that killed Crouton, and now I'm just the person who stood in the same room while he got stabbed to death.
Marcus says, You know, you could show a little empathy. I did like the guy.
Of course, Marcus. We'll do that right after pigs fly. All this having been done, our next step is to bring this reality to Mac, persuade him to release my line chefs, prepare the pizza, and then depart.
Alright, Marcus has agreed to work with you guys for now. Spaulding starts making a list of ingredients he's gonna need to transport everyone to Guy Inferno. Matilda held up her end of things, but Paul's last 3 line chefs are nowhere to be found. Mac is waiting for you, Marcus explains. Caesar assumed you'd take the obvious route of collecting your men and regarded you as the highest priority.
Then he was a fool for not bringing my men to his cell block and to not consolidate his forces here.
He was worried that if he gathered your line chefs together, they might still be able to try something. Everyone in the know is terrified of the Godfather's pizza, Paul. If the rumors are true, I assume with good reason.
I assure you, anything you've heard is merely underselling it.
We still haven't had a clear answer exactly what the pizza does, Paul. We've been helping you all this time and haven't once had a straight shot at that.
Elvis, it's really such a delightful surprise. You won't be disappointed, but I really don't want to give it all away before it happens. When I tell you my Gaia pizza is everything, you'll see I'm not exaggerating. With any luck, I'll be able to show you within the hour.
You know, it's funny. I've been around you a lot longer, and I don't know what the Gaia pizza does either.
It's an experience, Lowry. A new paradigm. Once you've been part of the Gaia pizza, there's no going back.
It will end all life as we know it, says Marcus.
Now don't give it away, but yes, life as we know it. What we know thereafter shall be indelibly altered. We might argue whether it's altered for the better, but in the case of the Flavor Zone, I believe any change would be welcome.
So we're just gonna apocalyptically change the Flavor Zone forever and take it on faith that that's what we all want.
It will permanently make this place unsuitable as a culinary prison. So if nothing else, it would force Inferno to rethink his entire operation. I believe we can agree on that.
Well, that's fine. I guess we can, but is there gonna be a blast radius? How far back should I stand?
There will be time to retreat, but you should also leave the area immediately.
Exactly how much time? If you were to vaguely describe your doomsday dish as a mission briefing, how long should we be at Ground Zero and how far away should we run?
We probably have a few hours before we're in immediate danger. The zone of threat will encompass the entire known Flavor Zone and eventually beyond. Nothing will be safe.
Wait, if your pizza's gonna destroy everything that far out, how exactly did you survive making it the first time?
That's the irony of it, Lowry. I was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for my art, but as the recipe was completed, Guy Inferno arrived and apprehended us. He attempted to stop my creation, but utterly failed, losing a number of his men, I'm told. Having thus survived, I now see my purpose was fated. I can affect a cosmos, and now that I know a well-prepared dish can carry a person to a new cosmos, I understand the gravity of my destiny. I am meant to make my dish again, to perfect it. What we're going to do is going to be a thing of myth. We are each part of a pantheon, and we merely have yet to realize our potential.
Don't get any ideas, Spaulding says. I'm gonna help you get out of the Flavor Zone and stop Guy Inferno, but that doesn't mean we're gonna work together afterward. Once you take down Inferno, you're on your own.
Not to worry, Spaulding. You've opened my eyes to the possibilities. That alone is enough to ask of you. How long will it take to prepare our escape?
I need about an hour.
Then I will give you 2. Everyone who's with me, we should get ready to confront Mac. What I propose is this. We'll split into 2 teams. I will go with my line chefs to meet the rest of my group, and we'll begin the Gaia pizza. The rest of you need to keep Mac distracted for only about a minute. It's all the time we'll need to set the process in motion.
Matilda says, if that's the case, I'll have Butcher go with you. She knows how to angle a knife to cut through anything. A set of steel bars shouldn't be a problem for her.
Much appreciated.
Hey, Matilda, I don't suppose you and the rest of your crew are gonna team up with us? I've been hearing a lot about Mac, and I'm a little nervous about it.
I'll go with you, but the rest of my team, aside from maybe Butcher and Pepper, will stay here and keep an eye on things in case anyone has any ideas and decides to skip out. My crew won't leave me behind. Is that going to be a problem? Marcus shrugs and shakes his head no.
Happiness is the feeling that resistance is being overcome.
Are you quoting Barney the dinosaur?
What? No, I'm quoting the famous philosopher Lola Montez.
Oh, well, in my universe, Barney the dinosaur is the mascot for a multinational entertainment conglomerate.
I'm pretty sure in my universe that quote's from Conan O'Brien, the famous fictional barbarian.
You people live in silly universes. Come along, let's go fetch Olive, Butcher, and the others.
In my universe, Conan O'Brien had a brief popularity revival with the show called Conan Coast to Coast. It was a comedy show where he interviewed celebrities and argued with other characters from his comics.
You guys head over to the next cell block where your goons are waiting. Paul, your guys have been watching over the weird-looking girl, Pepper. When you arrive, Pepperoni says, "Oh, thank goodness you're here. She's making us all so uncomfortable. She keeps eating things off the floor." Matilda explains, Pepper likes to be on the lookout for new kinds of tastes. Since arriving here at the Flavor Zone, her life has been just an endless struggle.
Well, buck up, gentlemen, and Pepper. We're about to be out of here. Make sure you have your things. We're going to meet with the others and finally make the pizza.
Then off you guys go to the other cell where the injured Olive is staying with the rabbit lady they call Butcher. When you walk in, you see them both sitting unusually close together, and as you get a closer look, you see they're writing things down. When they spot you, they both panic and start trying to hide whatever they were writing.
What is going on here?
Oh, nothing. Just, Butcher and I, we both found out we like poetry.
Poetry, you say? Give it here, let me read it.
It's not very good. Yeah, a terrible use of imagery, Butcher agrees.
I'll be the judge of that. Hand it over.
Olive reluctantly hands you one of the pieces of paper. It's not poetry. They were sharing recipes.
Good God, man!
Just go around
you
sharing
animals.
recipes with people
Gross.
you just
You
know.
should be
Some kind of
ashamed.
recipe
Look, we
slut.
thought we might never see each other again, and she knows some really good ones. I mean, look at this.
What is this? She does this with Paprika? And you're showing this to me? This is the woman's private property. Have some shame.
I'm sorry.
I thought your
don't-
team was a group of adults, Paul. This is just animal behavior right here.
We're going to have a talk about boundaries when we have a moment. This reflects poorly on all of us. Okay, just waving your pride out there. You barely know this woman.
Matilda motions to Butcher. Just come over here. Oh, wait, actually, you're going with them. Go with Paul. Stay 6 feet away from Olive.
Yes, stay separated. This is embarrassing. We're at the precipice of success, and here you are airing out some of your most private assets. All of you stand here. Butcher, you stand over there. Let yourselves not get out of my sight.
They stand awkwardly far enough apart to leave room for Jesus, or in this case, they're sous chefs who are a lot more appalled at the situation than Jesus would normally be.
So is that it? We're gonna wave around any more unmentionables, or are we ready?
All I need is a few minutes. Once the pizza begins, it will be self-sustaining. Do you understand?
Well, how should we go about Mac? Just run at him and slap him in the face?
You could do that, or you could try to keep him talking for a few minutes instead. I dare to suspect that might be easier.
Easier than slapping him in the face? You've never obviously been trapped in an awkward small talk.
Well, you have to keep him entertained for several minutes, so imagine slapping him for several minutes. He won't let you.
Well, yeah, usually if you slap someone to get out of small talk, they leave. I mean, they might notify the police, but then you just deny it. And who are they gonna believe? The strange man you just slapped, or this kind old woman who would never hurt a fly?
I'm not asking you to make small talk. You can ask him about the big picture things. We all care about the same thing. We're all trying to escape the Flavor Zone. Just ask him what he'll do now that Caesar is dead and he's functionally working alone. I'm sure you have a lot to discuss.
All right, but if the conversation veers anywhere near towards the weather, I'm just gonna
Well,
slap
then I
him.
suppose I've been forewarned. Lowry, maybe you should be in charge of the conversation.
Man. I hate talking to people.
All right, fine. Matilda?
I was never really a front-facing kind of chef. The waiters handled the people aspect.
Am I the only one in this group comfortable with having a sane conversation with people?
I didn't say I would be uncomfortable. I just want to make sure I got all my backup tools in my pockets, okay? I was on the cover of Chef's Weekly. During the interview, I slapped the reporter. There's a photo of it. Everyone found it charming because I'm an old woman, and can you imagine?
Well, then I suppose it's Elva, then. I really only need a few minutes. All right, this practically cannot go wrong.
Well, now it's gonna. You shouldn't have said it wasn't gonna go wrong.
No, it won't go wrong. No more belly aching or poking holes. It's a simple plan. Just talk to Mac. How many ways can it fall apart? There's no sense in delay and nothing to gain from waiting. Let's carry out the plan.
You're all gonna thank me when I get us out of talking about the weather. That's all I'm gonna say right now up front.
Yes, because if we said anything more, we run the risk of losing your interest and getting slapped in our face.
That's right, and you're lucky things have been exciting this far.
Well, with a bit more bickering along the way, everyone sets off across the prison. In the block where you picked up your people, it seems the chefs are starting to argue over who should run the kitchen. It's getting pretty heated. In the next block, it looks like the guys living with Lafferty have set up a guard checkpoint. They're trying to make sure that nobody steals their massive trove of sugar. When they see it's you guys, they let you pass. The people inside are arguing about whether they should start harvesting the taffy on the ground first so it doesn't get any dirtier, or if they ought to start with the primo stuff on the ceilings before it falls down. And then, at last, you're at the doors to the cell block where Mac almost certainly has Paul's last 3 guys.
All right, we're going to pass through those doors and split up. Lowry, Elva, and Matilda make as much commotion as possible. My group will lay low and attempt to find where my line chefs are held.
Roger. And if he starts talking about the weather, I slap him. That goes for everyone else here too, okay?
Just keep him occupied for a few minutes. That's all I ask.
You guys go in, and at a glance it looks like it's a pretty regular cell block, except you're instantly greeted by a pair of guards on either side who ambush you with ketchup rifles. They point them at you and demand, "What's your business?"
Beans.
You stretch out your arms and bury both of these guys in a fire hose spray of beans.
Run out towards the courtyard, making a noisy racket. All right, listen up, you cell rats. I'm here to talk to Snack Attack Mac, and I don't mean about the weather. The weather is fine. Have you looked outside? It's fine. That's it. It's been established, so now we can move on. How are your kids? I don't have any. I don't want to talk about your kids.
And Paul, I assume that you kind of slink off and try to blend in with the commotion?
Yeah, but at some point try to corner some guy and ask him where Mac is keeping the prisoners.
You thrust a guy up against the wall and demand to know where your line chefs are. He points you the way. Elvis, you hear a thump, thump, thump. Then Mac leaps from a 3rd-story balcony, landing with a meteoric crash on the ground floor across the courtyard from you. He walks up and says, "I don't recognize you."
Really? I know we met. Although I think at the time I was inhabiting the body of a prison guard. So the impression probably didn't go both ways.
Hey, Mac, how's it going?
"Now you I do recognize," Mac says, pointing to Lowry.
Yeah, I hang out with Paul. He's kind of a big deal these days. He's gonna make a pizza that kills us all, I guess.
Mac points to Matilda. "Don't you work with Caesar?" She shrugs and says, "There have been a lot of plan changes since the riot started."
Yeah, that's actually what we're here about, Mac. I mean, you're a big guy, and from what I understand, you defy a common stereotype, and you're a smart guy, too.
Caesar's dead, Mac.
"You killed him?"
I would've, but his own guys beat me to it. Spaulding came around after the fact. I'm here to tell you to pack your bags, 'cause we're getting out of here.
Mac leans down. "Prove it." Paul, you check around the corner to the cell where your friends are and see the door is being held shut by another prison bar, physically bent around it. There are 2 guards with rifles hanging around. They look bored.
I'd like to take care of this quietly, if possible. Does anyone have any ideas?
Pepper, the wiry-looking bunny girl, goes, "Oh, I do." She steps out and pulls down her shirt. She points at a guard enthusiastically. "Hey!" She waves him over and then comes back to you guys behind the corner. She gives you a thumbs up.
A devastating gambit.
You can hear the guards shouting to each other. "You know it's a prison riot. There's like a 60% chance you're going to get shanked." You hear the other guy say, "You know I'd gamble on worse odds. Besides, people get lonely. She could just be lonely." Then that guard rounds the corner and comes face to face with your whole mob.
Come here.
The other guard yells, "So what's up? Is it a trap?" The other guy goes, "No, Mike, shut up." And Mike says, "Well, then why'd you stop?" The first guard says, "'Cause she's already completely naked, and I'm just stunned by the beauty." He steps around the corner out of sight from his friend.
Now drop your gun.
He drops his gun. I don't suppose the girl could still get naked. Pepper goes, "Okay." And she starts taking off her clothes.
Let's not do that, please.
You're as much as a spoil sport as Matilda. Butcher, the older bunny woman, says, "Matilda has to remind you not to eat the cotton in your pillow." The girl goes, Well, this isn't the same as that, though, is it?"
All right, you, guard. Tell your friend to drop his weapon as well.
The guard goes back out in the hall and says, "Hey, Mike, could you put your gun down?" Mike goes, "Dang it, Charlie, it was a trap, wasn't it?" Charlie goes, "No, stop saying I always fall for traps. The girl's, she's a pacifist. She finds it really hot when people lay down their weapons." Pepper goes, "Tell him to beat his gun into a plowshare." Charlie says, She wants you to beat your gun into a plowshare, Mike." Mike says, "Well, if I do that, do I get to see your boobs?" And Charlie looks at you guys.
Lie to him.
"Yeah." There's a moment of pause, and then Mike goes, "Well, all right." And Charlie says, "Okay," he put his gun down.
All right, everyone leap out. Ha-ha! It was a trap. Your friend was stupid.
Gosh dang it! I knew it! Charlie! Elvis and Lowry, we cut back to you.
So all I'm really saying is the burden of proof should be on you to prove that we didn't kill Caesar. If he's not dead, it should be easy for you to find him and bring his living body right here in front of us. But he's dead, so you can't do it.
You are the ones who made the assertion that he was dead. I'm not going to abandon my post for Paul's lackeys simply on their word that Caesar is dead.
Well, look, Mac, what would it take to convince you that Caesar is dead?
Even if you were to prove it, that would only make Matilda and Caesar's assassins into traitors, the likes of which I would not stoop to working with.
Okay, well, your big problem is that Spaulding has agreed to work with the anti-Caesar faction. So if you're intent on still representing Caesar, you're never gonna get out of here.
If that's the case, bring Spaulding here and have him tell me himself.
Oh, he can't do that, Chief. He's busy in the kitchen making his recipe to get us out of here. Stay here honoring a dead man or swallow your pride and join us. Those are your two choices.
So you may think. But I'm familiar with the concept of a false dilemma. When faced with one, it's important to remember that you can make a third way, a path that you walk yourself. He brushes past you and heads for the door, leaving the cell block.
What do you mean by that?
If you are telling the truth, the traitors are all gathered together awaiting their punishment. The meal to escape this place will be done soon, and the right thing to do will be to kill the traitors, take the food, destroy Spaulding so no one else can follow, and then wash my hands of this accursed prison forever. Then he shoves through the doors and he's on his way.
Well, fight successfully diverted. All we had to do was give Mac a bigger objective.
Paul's gonna be really mad. I feel like that went worse than it already was.
Yeah? I guess especially because we're gonna get trapped in a giant pile of scalding hot pizza cheese.
Well, Paul said he only needed a minute. And if we stop him, maybe he can't set that thing off until we know it's safe.
Paul, meanwhile, Butcher approaches the cell where your line chefs are being kept, and with a carefully balanced pull of the knife, rapidly chops the bar holding the door shut into tiny little slices.
Butcher, that is a stupendous talent. I see why you're part of Matilda's kitchen staff. Now, gentlemen, my colleagues and trusted companions, we are at last finally reunited. No longer subject to secrecy and skulking around, it's time to return the Flavor Zone to its primordial state, to make it whole once again.
Each of your 6 line chefs nod solemnly as they get out their various ingredients and begin the recipe. A small fire is started. One produces dough, another sauce. One provides pepperonis, another mushrooms, olives, chicken, bacon, cheese. Paul provides the various spices and secret ingredients which are known only to him. In no time at all, these pizza makings form into a sphere and begin to levitate over the fire. The crust expands.
Stand back. Our work is now done. Now it's only a matter of time.
Elvis and Lowry, you arrive with Matilda close behind you to find Paul stepping away from a small, floating orb of pizza.
Paul. Are we too late? Is this it? Is this what destroys the Flavor Zone? This little thing?
Yes, Lowry. This is an inferior recipe of the Gaia pizza, the closest I've ever come to brushing the face of God. The explanation is rather simple in reality. At some point during my career, I realized that virtually everything could be turned into a pizza. With a proper mix of ingredients, there was really no end to the possibilities. What must be the fundamental reason for this? And then I hit a breakthrough. I realized it wasn't that everything could become a pizza. It was because everything comes from a pizza. Think, what is the Earth but a crust with a sauce of water and continental toppings? The galaxy is a disk with the planets and the stars scattered about like cheese and toppings. And what if, moving forward in this knowledge, one created a perfect pizza? A primordial pizza of such stability that it was no different than the day the universe was compressed into a single pizza singularity. The perfect pizza has such a stable, energetic state that everything it touches, from the air we breathe to the ground we walk upon, will be absorbed by the pizza and made one with it, ever expanding, infinite.
As Paul has been talking, the little floating pizza, in fact, has been getting gradually larger and larger. It was about the size of a baseball when you got here, and now it's getting close to the size of a basketball.
Now you understand. The Gaia pizza literally is everything. Nothing can stop it now. When I made my first Gaia pizza, Guy Inferno threw everything he had into stopping it, but ketchup, mustard, relish, horseradish, nothing could neutralize it. Anything he hit it with simply became incorporated into the pizza's structure. Inferno's efforts vindicated my beliefs, demonstrated that the Gaia pizza could not be overpowered. Nothing is above it. Furthermore, he introduced me to the reality of there being numerous dimensions. I'd believe the Gaia Pizza was a one-way ticket, and we were willing to sacrifice ourselves to say we recreated the fundamental building block of the universe. But now that I know there are different dimensions, I know there can be new Gaia Pizzas, varieties and unique flavors. I have learned that there are recipes that can extend one's life indefinitely, Elva. And I need only a few ingredients, which from Lowry we've learned can be reproduced endlessly with only a scant investment. Would these other dimensions not understand how this beauty has come to be? Has this not unlocked a new paradigm for all of existence? Will the people not attribute this work as having been done by a deity in their failure to understand it? My friends, when I say our purpose is divine, I say so having seen the true light of divinity. We are the chosen ones, thrust by the strands of fate to a unique position which we would not have had if not for the Flavor Zone. We will leave this place now, overcome Gaia Inferno, and establish for ourselves a Mount Olympus, where our mastery of the flavor lore will grant us agency over all known existence. What you see here seems as small and harmless as a strand of DNA. And just like the genetic code, it contains so much more information than you might possibly assume.
Wow. All right, that was a big speech, but I appreciate you finally telling me about the Gaia Pizza, what it is. Slight problem about the escaping, though.
Ah, yes. Well, we should make haste. The pizza will grow in size with increasing speed, and there will be no safe place soon.
Yeah. First, we're gonna have to catch up to Mac, though.
Good news. We didn't fight him. There was no slapping.
Yeah, we avoided the physical confrontation stuff.
Bad news. He's going back to the kitchen to kill Spaulding and steal all of our food.
Yeah, and that part we think is pretty bad.
He's what? And you just let me stand here monologuing about my pizza?
He seemed really into it. And the curiosity about it was killing me. I really wanted to know.
Yeah, you've been building up to this all day.
Well, it will be for nothing! Run, now! Let us make haste! Mason, I run ahead.
Everyone follows along. Behind you, the pizza continues expanding, already reaching about the size of a beach ball. It makes contact with the floor, which simply melts away into the pizza. You're on the move, but Mac definitely has a pretty good head start at this point. Paul's Gaia Pizza expands ominously behind. The fate of the Flavor Zone is sealed now, but ahead is a giant shark man intent on snatching your victory away at the last second. You have to hurry to catch up. Back through the taffy cell block, it looks like the prisoners tried to slow Mac down, only to get immediately clobbered. The doors have been kicked in, and the mangled bodies of the guards are lying on the floor. Mac has left giant footprints in the taffy. In the next cell block over, there appears to be signs of indiscriminate shuffle, but it's all quieted down. You can hear Mac's heavy footsteps clomping down the halls. What's next, guys?
Lowry, Elvis, and Matilda. Mac would squash me flat. You head down that hall after him, slow him down, then disengage. I'm going to loop around in the other direction and warn the others.
So I take it slapping's on the table again, Paul?
Whatever falls within your discretion, just get back to the kitchen ahead of Mac and be ready to make the leap to Gaia Inferno once you're there. Don't exhaust yourself. We mustn't lose sight of our core objective. Then I run the other direction.
All right, I got an idea. Lowry, you spray a bunch of beans under Mac, and then I'll give him a good flying kick to take him off his feet. Matilda, you blast him with eye lasers when he's down. You got eye lasers, right?
It's like gamma radiation, but yeah, basically.
Yeah. I say potato, you say tomato. Let's go.
Actually, I think the difference between those two things is kind of a notable distinction. But you guys run off. You get down the hall and see Mac headed down it. The courtyard is just to his left. Across the way, you can see Paul and the others running down their side of the walkway. His line chefs are carrying Olive on their shoulders, since otherwise he couldn't run. Mac hears you and he turns around.
How's the ground underneath Mac with beans?
Then leap up and kick Mac in the chest.
Mac opens his mouth and starts to say something, but only gets as much out as, "So, you've..." And the ground is covered in beans, and Elva makes a lightning-swift kick into Mac's upper body. Ugh! He flops like a bear, collapsing to the ground. Elvis, you land in the beans. Give me a dex roll.
Here we go. I got acrobatics and breakball.
The ground is slick, but you kind of go down with it, doing the splits on the way down to transfer the momentum, and then you pop right back up like a dance move. Matilda runs to the side of the mess to avoid hitting you, and in a flash, the beans start bubbling and boiling, and you can hear Mac's skin sizzle. Ugh! Mac grabs a hold of the railing, tears a piece of it loose, and throws it straight as an arrow at Matilda, doing... the railing sticks clean into Matilda's abdomen, knocking her backwards. She goes pale and grabs at it in panic, but it looks too deep to come out safely. Elvis!
Run over to Matilda and pick her up.
When you lift her up, you see the railing is sticking out of her backside. It went all the way through her. Oh God, she says. It doesn't feel bad, but it looks bad.
Just don't touch it. It's gonna be a project.
Okay, it's starting to feel bad. Larry!
Skate on over to Elvis and Matilda, then hose Mac in a wave of beans.
Mac is subjected to another fire hose blast of beans. The floor is slick, and he tries to stand up while holding what's left of the railing that he just destroyed, but he slips and he falls.
Hey, before more of us wind up with stuff hurled through our chests, let's say we did all we could and get out of here.
I might be able to catch one of those bars if he throws another.
Well, maybe you can, but I can't. Let's go.
Elvis, you're up.
Okay, fine. I carry Matilda and follow Lowry out of here.
You guys run down the catwalk. Behind you, you hear Mac slipping on those beans again. He mutters something angrily as you hear his boots squeak. Wham! The floor shakes whenever he goes down. Paul, only about a minute ahead of the others, you burst through the doors of the kitchen. Several guys turn guns on you, but lower them when they see it's you.
We haven't a moment to lose. Mac is coming this way with intent to avenge Crouton. We'll all be like pigs to the slaughter if we don't depart now.
Marcus says, Where's the others? Did Mac kill him?
I can only hope not. They should be right behind me.
Lowry, you skate from the upper balcony down to the kitchen floor and punch through the doors.
Are we too late? We slowed Mac down a little, but he throws things with gorilla strength.
Or maybe even like the strength of a giant shark man.
To be honest, probably harder than a gorilla.
Matilda! Butcher pushes through and looks at Matilda lying there in your arms. She panics for a second, but then takes her knife and chops the railing down so it's not sticking out so far. The bunny guy with the thin mustache jostles over and declares, Stand aside! I am an expert of stuffed foods, and given time I can insert or remove all manner of things from the body. There is much bleeding due to a delicate blood system near the wound, but I can help her. Then there's a terrible shrieking metal sound. The cell block shakes under what can only be Mac furiously forcing his way through the doors with the power of a battle tank.
We're all gonna be dead if we don't get out of here soon. Where's Spaulding?
Spaulding is fumbling with the tray full of sliders. I mean, I'm mostly done. I had to make do, because we don't really have very much real meat. But this flavor, it ought to take us back to Guy Inferno's backyard.
Are you certain?
It's a one-way trip. There's no way to test. Thump, thump, thump. Boom! Sounds like Mac has jumped down to the ground floor.
I grab a slider and I bite into it.
All right, best of luck. Here we go. I take one too.
I suppose fate has carried us thus far.
The sandwiches melt in your mouth, and you feel a sensation similar to the one that brought you to the Flavor Zone originally. Everything fades away, and there's nothing but the amazing taste of this slider. But hang on, there's a bit of an aftertaste. You open your eyes and find yourself in darkness.
Are we dead?
Feel around. Are there walls? Is there at least a floor?
There's definitely a floor. It feels like tile. Then you kind of trip over something about waist high, and you realize you're grabbing a sink. Suddenly someone elbows you from behind. Oops, hello? Who's there? Did we make it? Sounds like it's Butcher. Then there's other bodies starting to bump into you, and the space starts to get crowded. If you're in some kind of room, it's apparently not a very big one. You're all being pressed up against the walls. Or, Paul, in your case, you've hopped up on the sink.
Listen, someone's on my foot.
God,
Let me
please
slide
stop
back so I can
jostling.
go,
I have
okay?
everyone
Stop
patient.
shoving.
It smells
Everyone,
like an air
listen!
freshener.
Listen, I believe we are in a bathroom. If everyone could just calm down, if you can feel a wall, check along it for a light switch.
Lowry, your hand brushes up against what feels like a light switch.
Okay, hang on. I think I got it.
The room lights up with what at first appears to be an unusually bright torchlight, but then you realize they're just electric lights made to look like torches. The entire room is tiki-themed. The shower curtain implies a luau, and the wallpaper is printed with pictures of hamburgers and barbecue ribs.
Well, I guess we can say we must be adjacent to the correct place.
Spaulding says, Oh no, I'm sorry. I must not have gotten the recipe exactly right.
There are few right answers when the real objective is to go from frying pan to fryer. At least now we won't be disoriented when we find Inferno. Someone open the door.
I open the door and stumble out backwards.
You stumble out into a hallway, followed by a gaggle of bunny people, lion chefs, Marcus, and a few of his men. On second thought, it was a larger bathroom than it felt like in the dark. In the hall, it's shag carpet with rich wooden walls. On the walls are pictures of Guy Inferno sharing various foods with different chefs.
Well, looks like you can claim a B+, Spaulding. We're at least in the right house.
Yes, everyone quiet down. Perhaps we can even use this to our advantage and take Inferno by surprise.
The pencil mustache bunny guy says, I need to get to work on Matilda's injury right away. Can you carry on without us?
Matilda's in no condition for fighting, so I suppose we must. Take refuge in a nearby room and lay low for the time being. Regroup at the first opportunity. I'm sure the commotion will be perfectly audible. Spaulding, were there any sliders left over?
I don't know. It was so chaotic, everyone was just grabbing them, and I barely got one.
Then allow me to just... I turned the bathroom lights off and shut the door. Oh, actually, on second thought, Lowry, could you coat the floor with a spritz of beans?
Yeah, sure.
You open the door, cover the floor in beans, then shut the door.
Just in case, you see.
Almost as soon as you shut the door, you hear a heavy step in the bathroom, as if by a large animal. Then a squeaking boot and a crash as that animal falls down.
Gods! Oh, I'm going to stuff Lowry like a turkey with these beans.
Aw, man.
Marcus goes, "What now?"
Matilda's group, duck into that nearby room and see to Matilda. Marcus, come with us and make plenty of commotion. If we draw Mac to Guy Inferno, we may be allayed by a temporary truce.
Are you using that word right? Allayed? I don't think that's correct.
I believe so. It doesn't matter.
Matilda and the others duck into another room. Mac kicks the door open, but the force of the kick causes him to slip again. It looks like he's already knocked down the shower curtain and knocked over a hamper full of print shirts.
Hey, Mac, I'm really sorry about this. Could we talk about it instead of me getting murdered?
I am going to squash you as flat as these beans I'm lying on.
Okay, I guess we better go.
We run down the hall.
Down the hall you go. The hall comes to a set of stairs, which you rush down. Mac begins tromping behind you. They turn into a living room with a big screen TV sitting on top of a mini fridge. As you're taking this in, that's when someone busts the back end of a rifle through a window and tosses a mustard grenade inside.
Oh, come on!
Run up and grab the grenade, then throw it back out before it goes off.
You grab the grenade and toss it back out. Boom! Ah! You hear screaming outside.
So much for the element of surprise.
I blame Mac tromping around. That's like trying to hide a moose.
Mac rounds the stairs. Marcus shouts, "You go ahead, find Inferno. We'll handle this front."
Right on, good luck. I spray Mac with more beans.
Mac holds out his arms.
You are going to...
And then he slips and he falls down the steps.
Let's not stop moving.
You guys and Paul's line chefs push on through a large set of double doors opposite to the direction the grenade came from, and you find yourselves in a sunny kitchen. It's gorgeous. The countertops are all in butcher block style with rich wood. There's 3 refrigerators, knives of all kinds, cabinets which must be absolutely stuffed with some of the best ingredients in all known worlds. You can smell it. To your left is a sliding glass window. Outside, Guy Inferno is tending to a grill, flipping hamburger patties. He's paying very close attention to it. Doesn't seem to be happy. And on the other end of the kitchen from you is a sort of small, muscular-looking goat person. He looks like he might be angry, but it's hard to tell because he's got a weird goat face with those weird goat eyes.
Hello? Boy, I bet it must be tough keeping all your hair out of the food. Do you wear, like, a full-body hairnet or what?
The door behind you is violently forced open and Max steps in behind you.
Now, it is time for your payback.
Look around you, you fool! Payback is at your fingertips! Our mutual enemy is standing outside grilling burgers as we speak, and you're going to waste more energy trying to fight with us.
Mac looks outside.
Inferno.
Mac, look. Trapped in prison, I bet it feels like it matters what everybody else is doing. But we're almost out of here. Not much further, and you could be several dimensions away from having to do with us or Crouton or anybody you didn't want to see again.
You are not good men. But I have words for Inferno.
Mac starts walking towards the screen door, but then the ram slams his hands down on the counter and yells, "Oi! You think you're just going to walk out there and talk to Inferno like his equal? If that's the case, you must be so high that I could light you up and smoke you from the other end." Mac looks at him and goes,
Excuse me?
The ram says, "That's right. Normally when you turn the lights on, the cockroaches make a run for it. It's not every day they try to go out and bask in someone else's radiance."
Hey, I like this guy. Hey, roast me.
Hey, roasting you'd be better than frying. Your skin's an oily grease fire just waiting to happen. I don't know how you call yourself a chef when you can't go near an open flame.
Okay, now do Paul.
I know all about him. Makes sense the fat man would specialize in a homogeneous dish that involves shoving everything all together at once. Maybe if you'd slow down a little bit, you know how to cook something with individual taste.
All right, now you listen here. I will have you
And
know
how about
that
this old
pizza-
woman, What do you specialize in? Jerky? No, that'd be cannibalism, wouldn't it? Let me guess, your favorite is aged cheese. Bet you're really good at that one.
No, I do granola. Cheese makes you flatulent. I actually have pamphlets back in my kitchen if you'd like to know more.
I know plenty enough as it is, and I know that every one of you is going back to where you belong in the flavor zone within the hour. The ram rolls up his sleeves.
Then evidently there are a few things you don't know.
The ram pulls a loaf of fresh bread out from under a counter. Then he gets a knife and he slices the bread into pieces. Mac says, "Who exactly do you think you are?" The ram says, "The name's Gordon, and I don't normally like to personally deal with the universe's problem children, but then I guess that's the thing about you people is that you're always a problem. I'm the one who handles and judges your individual cases. I work with Inferno, and if you've got a problem with him, you've got a problem with me."
Wait, so you're the one who decides if we should go to the flavor zone? But you don't even remember what I do? I only went there like a little while ago.
Sorry, Oldie Locks, I look at a lot of cases. You were probably a run-of-the-mill case being dangerous to society. We get a lot of those. I don't remember Bacon Face here either, but Paul I consider to be one of my greatest personal failures. Congratulations, Paul.
Then I'm pleased to announce you failed again. The flavor zone is on its way to being another Gaia pizza.
Gordon rolls his weird eyes. Oh, I knew this would happen eventually. I've been telling Inferno, just throw 'em in the sun. If they like to cook so much, let 'em cook. But that's not humane, he says. Well, I know where you're going now. This is just a victory for me, Paul, except you didn't know it. Mac takes a menacing step towards Gordon and says, "Forget Paul. Why did you imprison me? Why? I didn't do anything. I was a good hibachi chef." Gordon says, "Oh yeah, you. The huge security headache. You're a real edge case. Problem wasn't you, it was your people. Your government was going to use your techniques to weaponize food. We always try to keep an eye out on whole civilizations getting to be a mess. One chef can be bad. Think of an empire of bad chefs, led by people with the same moral compass as Paul." Max says, "That's all? I've been locked up all this time with real criminals because of something outside my control?" Gordon replies, "Like I said, real edge case. But we could lock you up, or we could lock up your entire government. One notable guy goes missing, that's not too bad. You can see how the latter would be real difficult." Mac lunges towards Gordon. "Well, now I'm in control of what's about to happen." Gordon leaps back and slaps 2 slices of bread on Mac's face. "You are not. You're an idiot sandwich." Mac then falls into a seizure, collapsing to the floor and convulsing with bread stuck to him.
Well, that would have been nice to have a little while ago.
Ah, man, I was actually kind of hoping to see what Mac would do to Inferno.
"Nothing compared to what I'm gonna do to you."
Wait, I gotta know. Did you throw me in the flavor zone because of stuff outside my control too? Like, was the government gonna do something wrong and I'm innocent?
Like I already said, I don't even know. What'd you do?
Well, I kinda drowned an entire city in beans. But not like maliciously.
Well, then you probably did that then.
Yeah, but not maliciously though. I wasn't a bad
What about
guy.
me? All I did was make healthy food.
And then what? Your health food came to life and knocked over a skyscraper?
No, it made people live forever. Well, me specifically, I'm totally innocent and I didn't do anything wrong.
Didn't you say you experimented with turning actual people into food? I could have sworn you mentioned that, or something about like a healthy body already having all the nutrients of a healthy body.
So? I mean, we turn cows into food, and Guy Inferno's out there flipping burgers. What's the difference? Is it because I was trying to push my diet onto everybody else? Because it was good for them.
I'm a little bit angry that you're asking me, because obviously I already reviewed your case, and obviously I already decided that you were in the wrong.
Well, I'd like to make an appeal. I think that my case could all be cleared up by more beans.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You spray Gordon with the fire hose torrent of beans, shoving him backwards into the fridge. "Big mistake," Gordon declares. He throws open the fridge door. It's packed with all kinds of crazy foods.
Leap up on top of the fridge, grab it, then push with my legs to bring the fridge down on top of Gordon.
Wait! Gordon tries to dive out of the way, but he slips on the beans and falls down. Next comes the fridge. Crash! Boom! Bang! Milk spills out on the floor. Eggs break. You're not even sure what that is. Looks like soy sauce? And that's blood. That's Gordon's blood.
How do you like everything thrown together at once now, Gordon?
If he'd listened to me, I'd have told him pancakes aren't healthy. I'm a health guru, you know?
Yeah, and also beans make a good side dish, but they got a lot of good stuff in them, so they're not bad as the main portion either.
Is there like a pun buried in that?
I was gonna say something like, beans are good for your health, but this is clearly the opposite of good for your health. And I was trying to work into joking about how it's bad for your health, but I didn't want to make it seem like I was bad-mouthing beans. So then I just started defending beans.
Well, I appreciate your beans, Lowry. They've been good for our health, certainly.
Yeah, beans are really great with everything.
What's Guy Inferno doing?
Still flipping burgers. He looks even sadder now.
Open a fridge and scan for anything I can use. Line chefs, grab some ingredients.
Are you gonna turn this place into another pizza?
No. As far as I'm aware, Spaulding has already made a run for it. That plan would be the end of us. But we are able to make a smaller pizza using a similar recipe from our early experiments. It will take some time, but if nothing stops us, we could make a pizza large enough to crush a sizable area. If it comes to a fight, keep me covered, and I'll eventually have something the size of an elephant to drop on our enemy.
Well, if it doesn't come to a fight, it's gonna be a one-sided execution, because I'm killing that Inferno guy.
Well, then we'll see how Guy Inferno prefers it. Let's go. I open the sliding door and go out in the back.
You walk out on the deck. Guy Inferno flips another patty. It sizzles on the grill. I guess Gordon is finally dead.
Yes, it was a terrible kitchen accident.
I always knew a fridge would kill him. He used to say, most people predict a heart attack. I said no. I just have a knack for these things. Seen fridges fall on good chefs before. Somehow I knew.
You don't seem very alert for someone about to face the music. What do you expect about your own death, Inferno?
I always knew this would be what killed me. You lock up enough dangerous people who all blame you. There wasn't any other way it could end. My vision didn't start as a prison. When I first discovered dimensional travel, I thought I'd meet the most brilliant chefs everywhere there was. Being one of the good ones, you can't really be prepared for just how prevalent a bad chef is going to be. Chefs with the power to do good, but who cross the lines and just don't care.
Hey, I want to let you know that ever since you locked me up, I've been thinking, next time I do Endless Beans, maybe I'll serve it in a cup or something, so it won't drown the city.
It's funny. I first wanted the Flavor Zone to be a place of reform, but we threw one person in after the next, and we just didn't have enough time or money to figure it all out. Every time we might have gotten around to it, someone was turning the moon into cheese, or drowning a city in beans, or converting an entire universe into one whole pizza. Eventually it wears on you, and you just think, maybe this is the natural state of things. Dog eat dog. Dog doesn't care how good the food is. He takes what he can get. Maybe being good is an uphill battle. The aberration is me. Maybe I'm not so good. Made a whole prison of food criminals. Aren't I just another crazy chef? Maybe I'm not above it. All I know is there's more evil out there than good. First I thought it would be like keeping stray hairs out of a plate of spaghetti. But over time I began to realize you guys aren't hairs. You're angel hair pasta. You're the bulk of the dish.
What you lack, Inferno, is perspective. You look upon my work and view it as a travesty. I took a universe, so flawed as you observe, and remade it into its pure form. Given enough time and study, I could make it into something new, something wonderful, bereft of the corruption and unfairness that drives so many to desperation. Many ruthless visionaries are called villains in their time, but sung as heroes once their time has passed. You have fought without a purpose, and become worth no more than so much frozen food in the grocery aisle.
I doubt myself. He puts down his spatula. But I hear something like that, and I know a good man can't ever rest, because whatever glimmer of hope you believe in, there's someone waiting to swallow it up and pat themselves on the back for it. Inferno unbuttons his shirt, revealing his fiery pudge. The shirt slips away, out unfurls two flaming wings. I hope you like things spicy, Paul. I knew I couldn't keep the Flavor Zone forever, but I can save at least one more universe from the godfather of pizza.
Well, you know what goes great with barbecue? Beans.
You spray Inferno with beans, knocking him away from Paul.
Run up and curb stomp him.
Elva takes a running leap at Guy Inferno, but as soon as you land on him, you find his body has a certain springiness to it, and your pant leg catches fire. You're gonna take 5 body and 10 stun.
Oh, God, he's made of fire.
Never substitute, always the real thing. Paul.
Sweep the hamburger patties off the grill. Line chefs, to me! We shall make the pizza that ends not a world, but an era!
Your line chefs pile in around you, tossing ingredients onto the grill. Inferno rises up from the ground into the sky. Paul, you think I'm gonna let you just throw my hamburgers on the ground and get away with it? Each of those burgers is worth $100 to those who would pay it.
Your death, Inferno, is worth more to me than these hamburgers.
And that is why you crossed the line. You say you love food, but where are your priorities when something stands in your way? Larry, you're up.
Wait for Guy Inferno to make a move.
You're standing by. Elvis, you put the fire out on your pant leg. What's next?
Why don't you come down here and fight me where I can punch you, huh?
Paul, you throw out the dough. In perfect synchronization, your line chefs pile on ingredients precisely at the time they're needed. Inferno takes his arms and scoops fire off his body, then hurls it down towards you.
Throw up a wall of beans in the way.
Lowry raises a wave of beans, which sizzle under the intense heat of Inferno's cooking. Then Inferno sweeps down through the hole in the beans he just created. He's holding a bottle of some kind of sauce. He grabs you, Lowry, then squirts it in your mouth. In an eye blink, Lowry is now standing on the grill. Your shoulder, where you were grabbed, is on fire. 4 body, 12 stun.
What the heck? Oh, God.
Elvis.
He's on the ground now, right? Run up and sock him in the back of the head.
Once again, your strike splashes against Inferno. His body largely gives way, but there's just a little bit of solid purchase in there. Your hand burns when it makes contact. 4 body, 8 stun. Paul, the ingredients have come together, and now you just have to tend this pizza until it's large enough to throw as a weapon.
How much longer is it gonna be, Paul? I'm getting some serious burns here, and I'm pretty sure I'm seeing the bone on my knuckles.
As the saying goes, if you can't stay in the heat.
He's like punching burning jello.
Lowry, you're still standing on the grill.
Heck. Jump off the grill, then fly up in the air on a bean wave.
Inferno lunges towards Elvis for the reply and tries to punch you right back.
Oh God, dodge.
All right, you slip a quick combo of punches from Guy Inferno. You feel the heat along your skin, and you know you're way too close to an open flame.
He's faster than us.
I should have come out here with oven mitts on. Are you even feeling me punching you, dude?
I'm an expert in seared meat. What do you think you're made of? Lowry.
Try to bury Inferno in beans.
You try to smother Inferno in another wave of beans. He's trapped under there for now. Elvis.
Mason, is there like a lawn chair or something out here?
Yeah, there's a bunch of heavy wooden lawn chairs lined up on the deck.
Run over and grab one.
You run over and you pick up a lawn chair. Lowry, your bean barrier starts to sizzle, then boil, then explodes, revealing Inferno there surrounded by smoke and steam. And it's your turn again.
I chuck a chair at him.
Is that okay, Lowry?
Why would I object? Go ahead.
Elvis throws the lawn chair at Inferno. It breaks when it hits him, and Inferno stumbles back a bit. Hey, that was a perfectly good lawn chair.
All right, encase him in beans again.
Down comes another flood of beans. This time, Inferno incinerates them as they arrive. A jet of fire overwhelms the beans, then rises up and hits Lowry clean in the chest. Lowry, that's going to be 6 body and 18 stun.
Uh-oh. That's more than my con. I'm stunned. It's hot. I spend my entire turn taking off my burning shirt.
Elvis, what do you do?
The next time Inferno throws some fire, grab the nearest lawn chair and toss it in the way.
Okay. Paul, the pizza's now a floating orb about the mass of a man and rapidly accelerating. By your next turn, it should make a decent weapon, if you can get Inferno to stand still.
Elvis, Lowry, I need you to knock Inferno down in front of me.
Hot, I'm burning up.
How do you propose we do that?
Knock him unsteady and shove him to the ground.
Lowry, you got that?
Huh? Yeah. Oh God, my chest is so pink.
Inferno launches a gout of flame at Paul. Elvis, you try to throw a lawn chair in the way.
Here's a roll.
And succeed. Gosh dang it, would you stop destroying my lawn chairs?
When I win this fight, I'm gonna burn the rest of them.
Lowry, what's next?
Fly behind Inferno, then blast him with beans so he lands in front of Paul.
Oh, do you have teamwork? I'll try to hit him with another lawn chair while he's in midair.
I've got teamwork.
Oh, me too. Did we all take teamwork? We never do that.
Well, team playing is dumb, and for girls. But I'm playing a girl this time, so it's okay.
I just figured it'd be a mandatory chef skill.
Yeah, me too.
Well, in that case, you guys are legally allowed to combine this attack into a single big damage roll. Everybody roll your attacks and let's see how it lands.
Lawn chair, away!
You barely touched your beans, Inferno. They're good for you.
And don't forget the main course.
Lowry sweeps Inferno off his feet with a wave of beans. Elvis hucks a lawn chair, which connects with Inferno, face planting him into the ground. And in the coup de grace, Paul and his line chefs hurl a massive pizza orb onto Guy Inferno's prone body, crushing him as it spreads out across the ground, like a shallow, delicious grave.
Let down another torrent of beans to bury the pizza, just in case.
And for good measure, Lowry throws on an extra helping of beans. A few minutes pass and there's no sign of life. The legacy of Guy Inferno, the greatest grill cook in all known universes, has ended. Soon you find that Marcus and his team has managed to wrap up their side of things, subduing Inferno's guards. Matilda's crew report that Matilda should make a full recovery, especially with the help of those who know the body on a supernatural level. When you have time, you're able to rummage through Inferno's things and find that he had a lot of notes on the theory of dimensional travel. Some of the law enforcement in this world put up some token resistance, but they're no match for all of you. Matilda and her chefs go their own way, as do Marcus and his guys. What do you guys do?
Well, probably nothing good. I continue to experiment with my pizzas and try to turn pizza worlds into new life, knowing that one day they'll discuss the origin of that life, talk of it with reference to a deity, and I will know that the deity was me.
I'd probably go to another world and start a new business, but then accidentally drown another city in beans and come back to work for Paul from then on. I thought I had it the second time, but the cups were just too small.
I guess I'll work with Paul too. As far as I understand, there's healthy nutrition in every body, but now I know that every body is technically made of pizza. So there's a lot to unpack that flies in the face of all my previous health assumptions. I don't know. I'll probably try to disprove Paul by looking for a world made entirely of granola.
With infinite universes, I don't see why you can't be right at least in some of them. And that's the game. You are now masters of your own destiny. Good job, guys.
Thanks for the game, Mason.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, I wanted to ask you guys. A friend of mine is looking for a group for his own game. Would you mind if we maybe let him GM our session next week?
Oh, sure, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have any game ideas right now.
Yeah, that's fine. I was worried you guys were going to try to make me GM.
Okay, cool. I'll let him know. It'll be really great to have you guys in it.
Well, all right. We're looking forward to it. Next time.
So that was the Flavor Zone. If you guys enjoyed that and you'd like to support me, I do have a Patreon. You can find me under Don Somewhere on Patreon. I also have a website, donsomewhere.com. You can find a link to Patreon there. And you can also find links to other things that I've done. I've been on the internet for a while, so I've got videos on YouTube, some other podcast stuff, so on. You can check it all out there on donsomewhere.com. If you do support me on Patreon, then I used to promise that I would get podcast episodes early, and I still believe in my heart I will get back to that kind of schedule. Someday I will. It just requires doing a lot of extra time. The Flavor Zone was actually a little bit more difficult because it was built a lot more from the ground up and has been much longer and more, I hope not imprudent to say epic than some of the previous arcs. The next season is going to involve a guest, which I hope you guys enjoy. He is a fun guy, and he also does role-playing games with me. He's Shippage, the guy who made Starter Squad. He's a lot of fun to roleplay with. He plays a little bear in a game on Sundays. One thing I do offer on Patreon is sometimes I do blogs randomly where I talk about stuff, and so maybe I'll talk about the Sunday games that I play over on the Patreon. Who knows? Anyway, that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed that and that you'll enjoy the next one, and otherwise just have a wonderful week, day, month, whatever. Just one last time, that was donsomewhere.com or Don Somewhere on Patreon.